All right. Good evening, everyone. This is the City of Dania Beach regular meeting on August the 26th, 2025. It is 7:01 p.m. and I call this meeting to order. City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Davis.
Here.
Vice Mayor Salvino.
Here.
Commissioner Llewellyn.
No? Here.
Commissioner Romoli.
Here.
Commissioner Ryan.
Here.
City Attorney Boutsis.
Here.
City Manager Garcia.
Here.
Mayor, you have quorum.
Thank you, City Clerk. If everyone would please bow your heads for a moment of silence. Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Eve, if you would please read our statement of decorum.
Yes, ma'am. No individual shall make any slanderous or unduly repetitive remarks or engage in any other form of behavior that disrupts or impedes the orderly conduct of the meeting as determined by the mayor. No individual may speak directly to or address the mayor, city commissioners, or staff. Comments are to be only directed to the commission as a whole. No clapping, applauding, heckling, or verbal outbursts in support of or opposition to a speaker or his or her remarks shall be permitted. No signs or placards shall be permitted in the commission chamber. If any person's conduct as determined by the mayor is found to be disruptive or interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting, the person may be asked by the mayor to leave the commission chambers. If the person does not leave and the conduct persists, the city police department will be requested to escort the individual from the city commission chambers. All cellular telephones are to be silenced during the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, City Attorney Eve Boutsis. At this time, we will move on to our presentations. We have...
Sorry, my fault.
Next, we have presentations and special event approvals, item 3.1. I do see Lori Cirillo, so please come on up. She is with the Junior Achievement of South Florida, and I had the pleasure of doing a tour. Maybe it's a month or so ago, and I was thoroughly impressed by all of the work that Junior Achievement is doing. We are proud to be Broward County's Municipal Partner of the Year, and so I know you do a lot with our schools, and so I wanted the commission to have a greater insight into what your organization does, as well as hopefully invite them on these tours upcoming. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, commissioners, for having me here this evening and the opportunity to share with you what's happening at JA World. So I'll just go through really quickly. You want me to use this one? Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So Junior Achievement has been around, first of all, for 105 years nationally. We're a global organization. And here in South Florida, we've been around, we just celebrated our 65th year. We actually have served over 1.3 million students to date in that time. But in 2009, we went from serving students just in the classroom to serving students at the largest JA center in the world. There's only 39 of them. So our building is about 60,000 square feet. It sits on the Broward College North Campus. And so here's a little bit about what happens there. But I would agree with Mayor Davis, you have to see it to believe it. It's pretty wow. So our three core pillars are financial literacy, entrepreneurship, and workforce development. Workforce development is our North Star. How many of you have heard from business people how their talent pipelines are drying up? right? Where's their workforce coming from? Our young people, not all of them want to go to college, right? So we need to make sure, and this is what JA does uniquely. We are very different than most organizations. Some organizations do workforce development, and they go a little bit deep. A couple of hours, career fairs, that sort of thing. JA programs are a minimum of 35 hours of instruction, and our high school programs are up at 150 hours of instruction. So how do we do this? How do we get children and young people prepared for the future? You'll see there's a plethora of programs that we deliver. In JA World, JA BizTown and Finance Park are the two most probably well-known programs that we serve in that school. So BizTown is every single 5th grade student in Broward County Public Schools. And then we also serve charter and private schools. So about 15 to 18,000 students, depending on enrollment, will go through that. They will do about 18 to 22 lessons in the classroom. They will talk about their jobs, their storefronts. They actually will come and run the city. So before they get there in the classroom, they're interviewing for jobs. They're learning about the different industries. They're learning about financial literacy because they're going to get paid and they have to know how to manage their money. And so all of those things, running businesses, it's quite interesting to watch these 5th graders run the town. And they do, and they don't want our help either. What's happening when they're doing these kinds of programs? 95% of our students report increased knowledge in these areas. That's pretty engaging. If you read about our students today, what's happening is our students are not engaged in education. We're seeing really, really high absenteeism rates. This is the kind of experiential learning that they want. And so we're going to continue to give them more and more. There's just a couple of pictures of BizTown. Finance Park, which you've probably heard of, is now actually going to get renamed to Career Discovery Park. JA South Florida, about 2 years ago, said our state is focused on workforce education. Our educational system is focused on it, so we're going to make a little bit of a shift. And so we rewrote the curriculum and the simulation, and now students are on tablets, they are using AI, VR, and they're exploring over 30 industries and over 200 jobs. These are 8th graders, and every single Broward County Public School 8th grader, plus charter and private, will attend this program. Again, 20 to 22 lessons in the classroom, and then a full day simulation. Our 8th graders will actually have to make their career pathway decisions in 8th grade. There was recently a little video, and I can send it out to all of you. Mike Rowe, who has this show called Dirty Jobs, and he was in a presentation on a panel. And he was talking about how there are hundreds of thousands of jobs, electricians, plumbers, that those businesses or in those industries are going to need in the next couple of years. And somebody asked him the question and said, where's our talent pipeline? And his answer was 8th grade. We've got to start young, exposing them to these programs. So let's see.
Typically, the middle schoolers might know about 2 or 3 different careers, and really that revolves around what the people in their family do for a living, and they don't understand that there really are endless opportunities. Junior Achievement believes that every student has the ability to be successful. So I want the middle schoolers to understand when they leave here that their career pathway impacts their income, which changes the kind of lifestyle they're able to have as an adult. What excites me is I like seeing the magic happen when they start to understand that, oh, my interests and my abilities, they affect what kind of career that I should have as an adult. They learn a lot of soft skills about how to work as a team, how to communicate, how to speak to each other.
One of the things about Junior Achievement that we hear all the time from our students is that they start to build their confidence and their self-esteem and their self-worth. That is how our children are learning.
In one of our storefronts, we utilize virtual reality. So instead of us having to physically take them to an automotive shop, they're able to stay right here in our building. We're trying to help the students realize that technology is not here to replace anyone. It's not here to replace jobs. It's not here to replace humans.
These young people will use technologies like AI and VR. We have a responsibility to make sure that we keep JA World and the simulations that happen here relevant for these children.
Really, we're trying to teach them that technology can enhance what you're doing in your career. So we're trying to teach them that connection of understanding how to utilize technology to really help you achieve your own goals.
So I wanted to just bring it alive for you, even though you can't be there right now, obviously. Let's see. I don't know how I lost it, but anyway, I don't know wherever the AV guy is. So that is 5th and 8th. So over 40,000 students are going through those programs. I do want to touch on 2 programs. Our JA Pre-Apprenticeship. That program is feeding students directly into the talent pipelines. We have already put in place 130 students into electrician jobs, plumbing jobs, straight out of high school, with high school degrees and the certifications that they gain through our program all year long. This past summer, we put 315 students into jobs. And some of them were from Dania Beach. We had 3 pre-apprenticeship students from the pre-app program this year. So we are absolutely, this is an end-to-end solution. This is not just education in the classroom, a couple of hours. This is deep impact, deep instructional hours, and then hands-on. Our kids want to know how to apply it. And you heard us talk a little bit about confidence. Our kids are scared. They're scared of the future. They don't know what they want to do. They don't think they're prepared with the skills. That's what this is about. It's about building their confidence, helping them to find the path that's right for them. And so I want to make sure that you know, so we're about this year, about a $14 million budget, which continues to go up. And some of our biggest funders, the school district is heavily invested. Broward County, about 10 or 11 municipalities are invested in this. As a matter of fact, one of our cities is coming in a pretty substantial way on the water management pre-apprenticeship. And then, of course, we work with over 500 businesses who are also invested. Volunteers, 5,000 to 6,000 a year. So you can tell it's a public-private collaboration, working with everyone, because building our talent pipeline is absolutely, right, a community issue. So it's about economic prosperity. It's about them starting businesses and making sure that they don't end up in financial distress. So I want to invite you to come out, see it. October 16th, we are actually going to be cutting the ribbon on Career Discovery Park. I will make sure that you all get an invitation to join us. Again, we would love at some point to sit down. How can Dania Beach, right, be involved in this through workforce and economic development? And let's work together. So thank you so much again for having me here today.
Thank you, Lori. And I just wanted to say that your numbers are staggering, the impact that you are really providing these real world opportunities for children to go into these industries prior to and having direct hires into these much needed industries. And so I thank you for your presentation. I don't see any questions for the commission. Okay. But I would like to have the commission to do a tour and then talk about future opportunities for expanding our partnership potentially. Commissioner Romoli.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you for your presentation. Just one quick question. Is there a selection process for someone to enter into JA?
So for 5th and 8th grade, it's every single student in our community from every school across the county. For high school, we recruit the high schools. Students from the high schools. And so it has to be a teacher and principal who want the program in their school. We are working with the school board to build a second building. We're waiting to hear about a piece of land. We already have about $15 million in donations to build it. That will be focused on high school, and there will also be a mandate so that every single high school student is doing these programs.
That's awesome, great. Look forward to the October 16th.
Perfect,
Okay,
thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lori. Appreciate your presentation. All right, up next, we have item 3.2, a Green Advisory Board presentation. Laura? I'm forgetting your last name, but please come up and state your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening. I'm Laura Lombardo, 1401 Northwest 10th Street. I'm here on behalf of the Green Advisory Board. Just dropping by to give the commission some updates. And so thank you for having us. So far, we've gotten a little bit of a slow start this year. I encourage you guys as commissioners to check in with some of your appointments to make sure that they are up to the commitment of the meeting in the month. We've been struggling to meet quorum lately. But with that being said, we have gotten some new additions to our agenda, and we had Anthony Gross come and visit us. He is the Senior Water Conservation Coordinator with Naturescapes Broward, and he introduced to us a new system of certification that we are eligible to participate in from the National Wildlife Federation. And it's a really interesting point system. You can earn points by having municipal buildings, have native plants and habitats for pollinators and native wildlife. And there's a lot of opportunity for the Green Advisory Board to take on that task coming up. I'm going to go on to the next slide here. Some of the benefits that would come from this certification would be enhanced environmental awareness, increased biodiversity and healthier ecosystems within our city, reduced water, fertilizer, and pesticide use. And like I mentioned previously, you can have schools participate in the certification program, City Hall itself, and individual residences. One thing that's interesting is Broward County is actually the longest running certified county, and they have been certified for 20 years. So I think it's about time Dania Beach join in on the celebration. And back in 2001, Dania Beach actually registered to participate in the program, but there is no further action on record. And we have our board member, Joanna Davis, who will be spearheading the project as the team leader. She will be accounting for all of these points and certifications, and I'll be supporting her as a habitat team leader. There is a QR code here, but we can also share this information with you individually so that you can join the mailing list for Naturescape Broward and become aware of the pretty extensive rubric of ways we can earn points towards this certification. Our second initiative will be enacting some sort of composting program here in Dania Beach. As of right now, we have some neighboring cities already participating. Those include Coconut Creek, Coral Springs, Deerfield Beach, Hollywood, and Pompano Beach. And what that would entail is a type of program where people would take their food scraps and they would be collected by a third party and then composted and then redistributed throughout the community in order to create more vibrant and fertile soil for all of us to use. The Green Advisory Board will have a bit more to tell you in the first quarter of 2026 as far as the cost of that program and what that will look like. And that's about all I have today. Thank you.
Excellent. Hold on just a second there, Laura. Excellent presentation. The Vice Mayor has a couple of questions or maybe one for you.
Okay.
Hi, Laura.
Hi.
You know, I've requested through a while back reports from our advisory boards that I don't believe I've received. We were supposed to be getting them quarterly. It's important that all of our advisory boards, especially the Green Advisory Board, because I think your attendance on there is probably the weakest of all of our boards. And with that being said, we don't want that to happen because it's a very important board. So what I'm requesting, you know, through the mayor and the city manager is to please have that either every 90 days that we can have a report of attendance. That way, whoever our appointees are at that point, we can, if they're not showing up, we will get reappoint somebody else. But as it is, it's difficult to find that person, and that's why you struggle with it. So you and whoever's on your board, if they have anybody that you feel would really be an asset to that board, you know, please give us the name, and you know, we'll make the appointment. It's easier for us to make an appointment with somebody that's recommends somebody that's going to be involved and enthusiastic about that position than it is for us to just appoint somebody that may say, well, I want to go, but then they don't show up, and that's a little bit disappointing. So with that being said, if we can get those reports, we'll as a commission, we'll eliminate the ones that are not showing up, and if you have any names or anybody that's listening tonight or in the audience that wants to be part of the Green Advisory Board, get with one of your commissioners, and we'd be happy to appoint you if the attendance is low. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Vice Mayor, for that great suggestion. And we do want to see our boards thriving and meeting quorum. So thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Oh, that just came up. Hold on. All of a sudden, hold on. Commissioner Ryan.
Hey, Ms. Lombardo, thank you for your presentation. When it comes to the composting, did you guys meet with that company, Dustin Dubois, I think is the gentleman's name?
One of our board members has met with somebody. She did give a brief presentation, but we have yet to have somebody from the actual company present for our board for all of us to have further details.
Okay, yeah, because I spoke with him and he said he was supposed to present to you guys, and I guess there's a conflict schedule. There's some type
We're
of
working on
conflict.
it, yeah.
And I want him to present before the CRA also. He has a good composting program that he runs out west, and he's been partnering with all the communities. I thought it would be a good opportunity for the patch and with the Green Advisory Board, so I'll make sure that I put you in touch.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that presentation. We greatly appreciate it. Next up, we have item 3.3, presentation from Calvin Giordano and Associates regarding the Arts and Entertainment District on Southwest Northwest First Avenue, the vision plan. Thank you for being here and for your presentation.
Thank you. All right, let's test this. Good afternoon. Gianno Feoli with Calvin Giordano Associates, located at 1800 Eller Drive, 5 minutes drive from here. We're very pleased to be here to be able to share with you a new vision for the Arts and Entertainment District. The idea here is to create an environment that will serve as a real destination to sort of spruce up and support all the long-term plans that the city is looking for the core of the city. So what we want to do is to share with you the recap and what the project consists of, our feedback and our approvals that we got with BSO, which was really critical, and how we're going about sort of making sure that we can provide for the beautification of the overall corridor. So we are looking at West First Avenue from Sterling up to its northernmost terminus on 3rd. So the goal is to have the entire corridor be part of that project. It is a very challenging one because we only have 40 feet of right-of-way, so we're trying to make the best of what we have. And I think that we've done an excellent job of creating sort of a package that really capitalizes on all the opportunities that are there. Part of what we want to do is also recognize that there's a lot of back-of-house services that right now front West First Avenue. We've made a commitment to work with all the property owners, particularly those businesses, to make sure that there are adequate loading areas so that their businesses are not negatively impacted as we move forward. Some of the things that we are looking to work around are the overhead utility lines. We've had conversations with the city to see if there are ways where we can underground that. One of the reasons why we want to do that is not only does it beautify the area, but also gives us an opportunity to be able to provide street trees. With the overhead power lines, there's a limitation on the height of the trees that we can put. So we're really looking at what that opportunity is so that we can maximize that. Overall, the goal here is to create a street that feels like a plaza that then becomes an event space. So the whole idea is that you have a curbless street from facade to facade that creates a continued aesthetic character for the entire corridor. We're trying to piggyback on the investment that the city has already made here in the Civic Core. So we want to carry those furnishings and that aesthetic quality throughout, and then make sure that the entire project feels as one cohesive component. So we are looking at the implementation of this as 2 different phases. The break point would be where the post office is. The idea is that everything south of the post office would be part of phase 1, which incorporates and encompasses the Civic Core, and then everything north of that would then become your second phase. With that, The best way to maximize the opportunity for that 40-foot right-of-way is to turn the streets into one-way. We've had great conversations with Broward County. The idea here would be that south of Dania Beach Boulevard, it will be a one-way southbound, and north of Dania Beach Boulevard, it will be a one-way northbound all the way up to 3rd. So it gives us an opportunity to not have to dedicate 2 travel lanes, but only 1 travel lane, and be able to maximize that for parking and street trees wherever we can. So we've had an opportunity to talk about this with our traffic engineers, and we definitely think that we can make this work with a 16-foot travel lane, gutters on both sides, and parking. So it becomes a very sort of fluid area that feels like a drivable plaza, which we certainly want to make sure that it feels people first, so that it can capitalize on its destination quality. We've also made sure that we've dotted our I's and crossed our T's with regards to making sure that this aligns with the CRA plan, with regards particularly to the infrastructure and the parking. The parking is a little shallow given the right-of-way. However, we are being very careful and meticulous about where we put improvements to make sure that we're not creating impacts on people's ability to be able to use that. Something as simple as making sure that your car door can swing without having to hit sort of a piece of infrastructure. So just some ideas of what that character and what that will look like. This is kind of a drone shot looking at 101 Dania, looking southbound. You know, the full package of that experience all comes together when you come down at the street level. So it really becomes a sort of cohesive look and quality. So I'm going to walk you through different views of the overall project. Looking north and south from Dania Beach Boulevard, these are the kinds of looks that you'll have. North of Dania Beach Boulevard, we did first contemplate having string lights above. We felt that that could be a really interesting sort of festival street. We had to remove that from the plan because the fire department wanted to make sure that if there was a need to get any clearances, that those clearances were adequately met. This is the terminus as you arrive onto Sterling. That is a right turn only, so we would keep that, but it sort of gives you a sense of what that southernmost gateway experience would feel like. The other thing that we looked at was how do we make all of the intersections feel special and feel like plazas? The most important intersection here to cross is Dania Beach Boulevard, and the idea here is to raise the entire intersection so that it feels as a continuous plaza that connects both north and south portions of the roadway. It also serves as an opportunity for traffic calming, and it makes sure that it signifies to the drivers that this is a pedestrian-first kind of environment. The idea here is that the paving strategy would have an interesting coloration for the Dania Beach Boulevard, and then the patterns would simplify themselves as we move through the secondary intersections with geometries that create a significant sort of experience, but that don't become a handicap for maintenance. If you get really busy with the design, then the design becomes very difficult to maintain. We want to make sure that we get high impact with low cost of maintenance. So this is just an example of what that will look like looking northbound from Dania Beach Boulevard, looking southbound, and then what that will look like from the pedestrian experience. Imagine being a driver coming on and now seeing this plaza. You know you have to hit the brakes and make sure that you give pedestrians the right of way and the priorities. The secondary intersections would also have color to them. They will also feel very significant. At this intersection right here, there's a phase 2 of the 101 Dania going up, so that will already give it sort of some prominence, but it's something that will carry throughout the entire corridor, and we think that it can be such a great branding strategy that continues the color palette that you already have in your branding signage. The materiality that we will be proposing would be materiality that is pretty typical of pavement paintings. They're easy to maintain, they last a long time, they have a UV component, so it can help with LEED credits if we so choose to go down that route. With regards to our meeting with BSO, that was one of our biggest hurdles, was to make sure that the fire department would give us clearance to be able to move forward with this, with the typical street section that we've put together. We've been able to convince them using the recent improvements that were done on Hollywood Boulevard as sort of a precedent to say, if they can do it, so should we. So we want to make sure that that we sort of acknowledge and thank the fire department for their contributions. They were very careful about making sure that as fire trucks came out of Fire Station 1, that they had the opportunity to be able to engage the intersections. We got into the sort of nitty-gritty with regards to the technical aspects of it to make sure that the turning radii and all those components were adequately addressed. We also looked at whenever you have an event such as your block parties, that if you want to stripe the areas for parking as well, that the fire trucks can also get their mobilization and their mobility down to be able to assess and access any of those. With regards to the back of house, that is a reality that's there. There are dumpsters, there are utilities. We don't necessarily need to see them. The idea is that we can use an off-the-shelf material so that we're not creating expensive custom work, but that material can be used as a screening mechanism and can double up as an opportunity for art in public places so that it is not an eyesore for the overall city. And it's something that can be feeling very pedestrian friendly, you know, especially if we're able to give it that level of treatment. From an activation strategy, we recognize that the corridor connects livable components of the city. You are getting more residential in the area. This notion of creating a destination where people want to stay, play, and work in this area becomes really important. So we took an inventory of the overall, all the different assets that the city has within a close proximity. We particularly looked at the public spaces and looked to see how any improvements along the corridor could also catalyze and trigger improvements in the adjacent public spaces that are there. We recognize that the green space in front of the parking garage is something that is very flexible in its quality and its nature. The pumpkin patch, day after dark, it serves many different purposes. We initially had looked at improving that as a park area, and we recognized that that was actually going to cripple you for your flexibility, so we pulled back on some of those ideas. However, in the areas that are between the Norberg Swanson House and the Women's Club, we found that that open space that right now nothing really grows because the canopy of that tree sort of shades out the whole area, is a real opportunity that's ready for grab, that's low-hanging fruit that we can really capitalize on. We've looked at how different cities have capitalized on their historic components and turned those into historic villages that can double up as destination environments that can really sort of support the culture and history of the city. So we started to look at this, and we sort of, you know, from a nomenclature standpoint, we started to call this Founders Park internally. And we think that just by greening up the area, taking the areas that are right now completely shaded out with nothing, where nothing can grow, and putting in some play rubber surfaces that makes it very flexible and easy for children to be able to activate that, and bringing a wall behind there that can double up as an opportunity to provide a mural with a timeline of the history of the city, were great opportunities that I think are ripe for the grabbing in terms of the opportunities to catalyze that. With regards to events, we also wanted to make sure that any improvements that we did along the corridor did not handicap those events, because those events are a sort of a lifeline for your branding and your cultural prowess. So we looked at how the different events sort of typically lay up with regards to the distribution of the tents, where your stages tend to be, and make sure that as we develop it, that there are always opportunities for those events to be held. We work very closely with staff to also look at overflow parking conditions and where all those parking opportunities could exist. We went to your art board and presented not only the paving design, which got an approval from the art board, but also shared with them the idea of sprucing up the central fountain that's in the center of the roundabout. We shared with them how critical and important that is for the branding and the event strategies of the overall city. And we shared with them different strategies to sort of improve the beautification and utilization of it. Notwithstanding, the art board felt that it was a great opportunity for them to do a call for artists. So, you know, we took their advice, and the idea is that that improvement would be part of the overall scheme of things, but that will be something that will be led through the public art board itself. From a placemaking standpoint, this is where we put the bling in the city. We don't want to completely change out your furniture package and your aesthetic quality. You've already invested tons of money in your civic character, so we want to carry that through. And we think that together with the improvements that are going to modernize the overall look, it'll create a good blend. From a wayfinding standpoint, we've also been working with a consultant to put together a decent wayfinding package that extends the brand that the city already has, that gives us an opportunity for not only directional signage, but also using those sign panels where we can also put historical photographs to celebrate aspects of the city that we think can be very powerful in terms of extending that overall brand. We think that that's really critical, particularly as we start to look at all the different gateway components throughout the city and how those different thresholds are to be able to signify and allow people to understand that there is an art and entertainment district here that I have to say is very easy to drive by if you're on Federal Highway and you don't have the visibility there. So having the wayfinding package as a signifier to inform people not only that it's here, but how to get here, we think it's really critical. We also think that the wayfinding package is a great opportunity to also lead other individuals and visitors to explore the other assets that the city has with regards to its parks and its waterways and its art and entertainment components. So all in all, I think that we've put together a great package, and with your blessing, and we're looking for your approval, our next step would be to continue our work with the city's planning department and the planning consultants and make sure that we get a real tight package put together and get this engineered and ready for construction. I'll be glad to answer any questions that anybody has.
Thank you for that very thorough presentation. I can tell you've been reading our strategic plan, and it is so well aligned with what we have put together as a commission for the strategic vision for our city, from the historical all the way to the destination city. And so I want to thank you for really thoroughly going through that and making sure that it was in alignment with our long-term vision for the city. An outstanding job. So I don't know if our commission has any other comment for that, but thank you so much. Commissioner Romoli.
Thank you, Mayor. Fantastic. I love the presentation, love the ideas. I'm sure there's a lot we can build on from that as well, but the one concern I have would be on the flooding that we currently have on First, and the infrastructure. Is there going to be a package with this to help mitigate that? Because it's, as you know, it's a problem right now.
If I may, through the,
Yes,
through the
please.
mayor.
Absolutely.
Yes, Commissioner, as a matter of fact, we met also earlier today with Giano, Candido, myself, Mike, our community development, BSO. We've been meeting with Giano now for what, over like a year and a half, right? And the mayor hit the nail on the head. You know, from your strategic plan to the vision to incorporating the old with the new, kind of pulling in our historic significance of Broward's first city, but also looking at the challenges that we're facing, but not making mistakes of the past. And one of the things that we were discussing was the Delo. The Delo was built where the back is just a wall. So our goal now is to learn from that and see how we overcome a lot of these challenges. But there's really nothing that exists today that we cannot overcome. But any ideas, any challenges, we're still adding to the list. But Giano, you know, can you answer further?
Because basically the presentation is a aesthetic presentation, which is in my brain. It's beautiful. It's everything I always wanted to see in our downtown area. But what I'm concerned about is I don't want to put all this effort into this vision and then had flooded streets. That's the concern I have, and I'd love to be able to make sure, and I know we're doing this, but that's my concern. I want to make sure that we're really looking closely at making sure that this beautiful addition is not going to be underwater with the first rain that we
No,
get.
absolutely.
Right.
I'll let you jump in, but the storm drainage master plan, which we're working on and we're reaching the final stage of it, but we don't want to make something pretty if it's not functional.
Correct.
Right?
Because I mean, we can go out there even today, and even in 3 or 4 days or a week of no rain, if you look in those drains, the water is up to the street. And so I just want to make sure, and I know we're going to do this, but I just want to be voicing my concerns that this is going to be a priority above and beyond what we're looking at aesthetically for our city.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you that as principally an engineering firm, we strongly believe that the infrastructure needs to work. So not only drainage, but also your water main project along that corridor is going to be really critical. From our standpoint, we're also looking at maximizing the green opportunities that exist. So we are thinking about putting in silver cells so that we can capitalize on natural sheet flow to bring water to where the tree pits are going to be so that they can naturally percolate, so that we're not putting over dependence and over reliability on the gray infrastructure. So these are definitely things that we've been looking at from the inception of the project.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Romoli, for raising those concerns. I see no other questions at this time, so thank you so much for
Wonderful.
that thorough presentation. Appreciate it. We will now move on to item 3.4, presentation of the annual comprehensive financial report for the fiscal year 23-24 by Finance. Hi, Jamie.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jamie Guzman, Chief Financial Officer for the City of Dania Beach. I'd like to introduce you to Mark Grace. He's our auditor from Caesar Cooperman. He audited our financial reports for 2024, and he will be bringing to you a brief high-level report of the annual financial report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Like Jamie said, I'm just going to go over some high-level things that I think that the Commission would appreciate or, want to be, made aware of. First and foremost, we did the audit for 9/30/24. We gave it an unmodified opinion. In other words, it's a clean opinion. Jamie and the rest of the team provides us reports, statements, schedules, budgets that demonstrate compliance when we're doing the audit. Things of note, pension plans, we look at that. We do audits. Audit procedures related to that. All the annual contributions were made during the year. When it comes to long-term debt, we look at, to make sure payments are being made. Those are all being made. You guys met all your covenants. Last year, 23, you guys were awarded the Certificate of Achievement related to financial reporting. What does that mean? You have to go through a rigorous checklist to make sure that you have everything that's required in this almost 200-page statement here. The overall presentation is basically the same. We don't see any reason why you wouldn't receive that prestigious award again this year. When it comes to compliance, due to government auditing standards, we have to look at internal controls related to financial items, also any kind of grants or anything of that matter related to the financial reporting. We had no material weaknesses related to that. When it comes to just regular compliance, there was no instances of non-compliance when we were doing the audit. You guys receive a lot of federal, state, local grants. We did this past year, we did a federal single audit. So what does that mean? We had to do a deep dive into the grants that you received. We have found no issues with controls or compliance related to that. There's a lot of reports that we issue within this statement. There's one that goes to the Auditor General. If there was any issues, we'd have to relay that information within the report to the Auditor General. We didn't have anything. we have to look to see if the city meets the requirements of a financial emergency. I'm happy to report you guys are not. We also look at some of the investments. There's a report related to investments. There was no issues with that. All the transactions that we noted, significant-wise, met all the standards. They were recorded in the proper period. The estimates that are made, be it depreciation or anything else related to pensions, those seem reasonable and met the best practices in accordance with GASB. We never have disagreements with Jamie or the rest of the team. It's always a pleasure coming here and working with them. We didn't have any difficulties encountered when we were doing the audit. All in all, it was a good audit. Like I said, a clean opinion, that's the most important thing, and no findings. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Excellent news. Thank you, sir. I don't see any questions or comments from the commission, but we love the great news. So thank you so much. And thank you, Jamie, and thank you, Mark, for joining us this evening.
All right, appreciate it. Everyone have a good night.
Have a great evening. Next on the agenda, we have item 3.5, presentation of the Stormwater Master Plan by our very own Public Services Director.
Well, not really, but thank you. Good evening, Fernando Rodriguez, Director of Public Services. We're really excited to be able to present to you via our expert consultants, Chen Moore and Associates, Jennifer Smith and her very competent team have spent almost 2 years on this effort. It's kind of hard to explain it, so I'm not going to take any of their thunder away, but it's a broad look at the stormwater situation throughout the city. It identifies zones that are vulnerable, looks at topography, historical rain data, past history of flooding, etc., and puts together a comprehensive plan, but not so comprehensive that it's not got some specific areas that we're going to see tonight that we're going to focus on for future planning of stormwater projects. It's a citywide master plan, and I'll let them take it away. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Hi. So my name is Jennifer Smith, Chen Moore and Associates, Principal Engineer. I have Alec Bogdanoff with Brazaga. We have a few other sub-consultants on the team that we worked tirelessly on our project here with the city of Dania Beach. So to give you an oversight, we did a lot of data collection. One of the biggest tasks, we actually surveyed all of the city-owned stormwater infrastructure throughout within the right-of-way. So we have a good atlas and inventory for the city. So that is, a good asset, but obviously also needed for our stormwater model. We identified a lot of localized, unconnected networks, mostly all discharging to local canals, all tidally controlled, very low-lying elevation and high groundwater. So a lot of data that was all collected that then got transported into our stormwater model. Ultimately, we were able to simulate a lot of various storm events, including sea level rise. So the biggest to note was probably the 10-year one day. That's what we're considering kind of our level of service, that ultimately we want to try to aim for those roadways to be, not to say dry, but less inundated of rainwater during a 10-year storm event. So the image at the top right there is of the depth of flooding. So the darker the blue, the heavier amount of flooding. This is just a 10-year, one-day storm event simulation with all of that existing conditions that we gathered. So ultimately, we identified and ranked the basins. So at the bottom right there, you see various different colors of basins. Those were ranked highest to low based on a priority ranking formula based on the flooding depth as well as duration. How long did those basins flood? So ultimately, we grouped and gathered the highest vulnerable basins and combined them together to what we're calling a stormwater study area. So there was a total of 10 were the heaviest ranked basins with the heaviest amount of inundation, and those were identified for future modeling to see what improvements can be done to help alleviate the flooding in those locations. So at the bottom here, there's just some of the pictures of various alternatives that we modeled from pipes to pump stations, drainage wells, swales. So for the most part, it was a combination of a lot of these to provide that best flooding reduction that we could provide. It's also essential to note, just in the map, we did exclude the southeast area. There is, obviously, as you know, a very large drainage project going on there right now. So we did not further evaluate and analyze that area. We were looking at additional areas for improvements. So once we identified what was that best result from all of those various alternatives that we modeled, we ultimately created a capital improvement project, what we are calling CIPs. Those that ultimately effectively reduce that flooding depth and duration, and that's also permittable. There is a threshold limitation on how much we can pump, so we just had to make sure all of these improvements were also permittable. And it's also important, these are very large projects and a lot of infrastructure needed, so we do want to phase those improvements. So on the right there, some of these images that are highlighted is showing some of these streets that the city actually already has provided either recent or ongoing construction projects for stormwater infrastructure. So the city has been proactively addressing these flooding concerns, and that these are in line with our overall CIP plan. We also want to highlight, we did a lot of public outreach throughout this process. We had 3 public meetings. We had some data collection. We had a QR code where the residents can come upload their observations of what they saw of their concerns, which were in line with our model. And then we also prepared a stormwater guide for the public. So the big outcome, of course, we need some funding. So the total cost for just these CIPs, these 10 CIP project areas, is $83 million. This is a very long-term plan, 20 years plus. We've noted a lot of grant opportunities that are available for funding for these projects, including the Resilient Florida grant that's also on the agenda tonight. So a lot of grant funding available. As we discussed, we recommend phasing. The image to the side there just shows the various phases that we could proceed with. Sorry. And then ultimately this document, right? So our final stormwater master plan, as we're wrapping up, what can that be used for? So obviously we know the CIPs that are needed. We can plan those accordingly. We know the funding that's needed, and we could plan for the grants and how to plan for that in the long run. We also looked at some of the city's stormwater policies, some improvements that we can recommend. And this document can also be submitted to the FEMA for the CRS classification, the community rating system, so we can get some points there and hopefully lower the class. So ultimately, that's the summary of what I wanted to do. Nice, quick, concise, but it is 2 years worth of data all combined right here for you. But thank you for the opportunity to present and open up to any questions.
Thank you, Jennifer, for that very thorough presentation. We know that we have staggered these meetings with our community to make sure we had community buy-in, and that was one of my, biggest goals, to make sure that our community was involved. At this time, you don't want to ask a question? He did want to ask you a question. He's changed his mind. So at this time, I just, I want to thank you for continuing to work with our team. And I'm excited about our resiliency plan that's coming and how you guys will work together in coordination to effectively make this stormwater plan one of the best that the city has, well, the first that the city has ever had. So thank you for your hard work in working with our community.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next up, we have item 3.6, discussion on how to proceed with the restoration of 400 South Federal Highway. And I do see Sean Shutton.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, and City Attorney. Sean Shutton, City Engineer, and I'm here to talk about the newly acquired property that the city purchased within the last 2 months since the summer break has gone on. And it's the MC Frost House, a very prominent facility here in Dania Beach, located at 400 South Federal Highway. I'll talk about real quickly. It's going to be a short presentation on what at least the city's plan would be moving forward with that restoration, as you mentioned, Mayor. A little bit about the property. It was constructed in 1924. It's a Mediterranean revival style. It's one of the city's best examples of a 1920s architecture. There are 2 properties on the site. One is a residence of about 4,000 square feet. There's a second facility in the back. And then it's about 1 acre, a little less than 1 acre of property site area. So it does have historic recognition right off the bat. The city of Dania Beach is designated here since the year 2000. Broward County also identifies it as a historic resource, and it is eligible for the National Register of Historic Places. Just to talk about some other properties within the city that we recently did some historic restorations on. Right across the street, the Nyberg Swanson House. This was finished just this year.
Yeah.
It did. The city did do two restorations, one in 1994 and, of course, the one in 2024. It is on the National Register of Historic Places. City of Dania Beach recognizes it, as well as Broward County. And coming up, actually, hope to be soon, and on this agenda to approve the ITB and award the contractor for the Women's Club. We will be doing a restoration forthcoming in 2025 and 2026. It's a local historic designation, and Broward County also recognizes this. So what do we want to do with the MC Frost House? We want to continue that preservation here that we have established here at the city of Dania Beach and move forward with doing historic preservation. So what we're going to ask is for consensus from the commission to at least seek your approval and then move forward with the RFQ process so that we can identify architectural firms to help us with the design. Of course, there's a little timeline on the bottom, no dates to it yet, but that would just be the onset and the start of what we're looking forward to do. And shortly after that, we'd do the design, the bidding, construction, and then opening that facility up for whatever purposes it may serve. So with that, are there any questions?
Thank you, Sean. That was an excellent presentation, and I guess you're just seeking consensus and for the historical preservation that's in alignment with what we've already done with the Newburgh Swanson House and the other historical properties. And so I am seeking consensus from the commission. Do I have consensus from the commission? I guess Vice Mayor, are you sure?
Okay, thank you. Sean, on the consensus that you're asking for is you're going to do what? That's, I mean, to get a bid on how far you're going to get into this and what is the steps that you're planning on taking to how far, how deep, how much restoration of how historical is, you know, things like that. Are you just are you asking to put it back together in a safe place so that we can enjoy it and turn it into a venue type of thing? That's before, I mean, on the consensus, I have no problem with, you know, moving forward, obviously, because we voted to take the property. I'm concerned that I just don't want to get into a $5 million project or $6 million project renovating. So as far as the consensus goes, I'm okay with, you know, getting bids, but I like to know what the bids are for.
Correct, Vice Mayor. So what we're going to do is that we want the consensus to move forward with the historic restoration. Now that process will take some time. The first step is getting that consensus. What we'd have to do is get an RFQ from multiple firms that would like to do a design on that process. And during that time period, we would determine what the programming would be of the facility, what the type of historic restoration it would be. So we would have quite some time to determine the outcome of that facility.
I'll go forward. My consensus would be okay to do that, but I can tell you that when we purchased the property, I was pretty adamant at the time that we were going to turn it into a venue and that people were going to be able to use it. And if it's historical, that's not going to happen. So I can tell you that when you come back with a $2 or $3 million price tag, I would not support that. I'm looking forward to the city renovating the house and turn it into a nice place for everybody to go to and look at it and rent it for a wedding or a little like a shower or meetings or whatever. But as far as historically completed, I would not be for that. I think the taxpayers have that. We're going to have a few people that are obviously historically inclined to do that. It's a minority, a very small minority. And for us to spend $3 or $4 million in renovating it, I'd be very, very skeptical and spend that kind of money to preserve it. And to that point, I mean, it is 100 years old, but it's not, it's a beautiful place. And I think we did a great job in retaining or picking it up, but I just don't know how far I'd go. But as far as the consensus go, Mayor, I'm okay with getting the RFP, but I just feel like we're going to be spending money on something that I don't know how the rest of the board's going to feel, but I sure would not vote to the taxpayers' money to put that in there. So it's up to them at that point.
Sure. I will be presenting every step along the way of what the intent is for the facility. We're not making a decision tonight. We're just exploring the type of restoration that we're going to do. And certainly it can be a dual purpose venue as well as a historically renovated, but we'll bring it back to the commission.
And that was my concern, that once this RFQ comes back, you're going to give us updates as to what those are and what the program is and what the options are so that the commission can have an in-depth look at what's actually being presented for the restoration. All right.
Madam Mayor, if I may?
Absolutely.
So I just want to provide some clarity that if we do go the route of historic preservation, that doesn't mean that we cannot master plan it and hold any type of events. Even I go back to a lot of historic preservation and renovation, and we've seen the return on the investment. So whether you go down to Coral Gables and you look at Venetian Pool, you look at the Biltmore, or you look at Vizcaya, you look at Talada, the Deering Estate in Palmetto Bay, these are all projects in our neck of the woods that we work very closely with, that the investment was for conservation of the historic nature as we've been consistent, but also knowing that, I'm a bottom line person and I value how we invest our money and the return on the investment. But Sean will update you so you know and make educated decisions. By all means, you could certainly have all types of beautiful venues and special events there.
Hold on just a second. Thank you, City Manager, for shedding that light. Commissioner Ryan was next, and then I'll get back to you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm thrilled that we were able to purchase that house. That was a great victory for the city, and it's exciting to talk about what we can do in the future, but I just want to be cautious on how we restore it. Because right now it only has a historical designation with the city. With the county, it's considered an historical what?
An historical site. They list about 150 sites within Broward County that have historical significance. So I don't think it has the same as a designation.
Yeah, we still have to get a designation from the county, and then we'd have to get designation to make it a National Register of Historic Places, right?
Correct. I'm not sure if the county actually designates, but they recognize.
Okay. And, the Newburgh Swanson House is the only house that we have that is on the National Register of Historic Places. So when we had to restore the Newburgh Swanson House, you have to do everything to the period, right? You have to get window panes made up in North Carolina and roofing shingles made, in friggin' Milwaukee for all I know. But it cost $1.2 million to redo the Newburgh Swanson House, and it's beautiful. We're very proud of it, right? But I've been in the Frost House that we purchased. I took a look around, and from my understanding, just from our, brief analysis of the property, the plumbing and the electric definitely need to be redone, right? From what they say, from what I've heard from the crew, from the city crew, plumbing and electrical need to be done. That could be something that we could almost contract out and get it done modernly. You could redo the electrical and plumbing, and then you could focus on the rest of the house later, and you might be saving yourself hundreds of thousands of dollars because you're not trying to get original knob and tube wiring, right, in the property. So, and same thing with the Women's Club. We're spending $880,000 to restore the Women's Club. That's a small wooden structure that was built in 1935. And, my great-grandmother raised, I think, like $12,000 to build that way back then. So, I'm excited that we're restoring it, but to do everything of the period is very expensive when it comes to the window panes and the glass that was used. And when you look at the Frost House, it has the original floor still in it. It has the original ceiling beams in it. The bathrooms are still original of the period, some of them. I know some of it was redone, like the kitchen was redone, but the layout of the house is still overall historic, and the finishings, the moldings are still there. So I just want to be cautious on how we approach this. We obviously have multiple ways to approach it. Like I said, some things we could do, like the plumbing, electricity, we could do that modern. The city we could get a proposal for that, do that ourselves. Then we could almost designate the property historic, and it is on the National Register of Historic Properties. And then you could receive grants for the property to restore it as well. And obviously, I know we want to I think we're almost getting ahead of ourselves of what we want to do with it in the future. But it's pretty obvious that we want to make it a venue. And I think it'll be a great, like, half museum, half venue. There's so many opportunities that we have there. But you don't want to spend $5 million to restore, $2.5 million property. And it's we have to make sure we know how the city wants to appreciate it, how the residents want to use it, and how the surrounding county wants to use it as well. Because there's multiple opportunities that we can have there. And I just want to maybe we could educate ourselves more on if we restored particular things. Like, there was a hole in the roof, and our guys went up there and patched the hole in the roof. We could do something like that. You fix a roof to be historic, then, it's going to cost you triple the amount, quadruple the amount, who knows. So that was what I wanted to mainly discuss with the commission, just to put that in all of your minds moving forward. But definitely thrilled for it, and thank you for your work on it, Sean. Thanks, whole staff, for the work on it.
Thank you, Commissioner Ryan. So is that possible? That you patch some things, you do some things and not do some things historical, and do some things, in order for us to save the dollar? Or in my understanding from the previous entities that we did is that you had to, if it's historic preservation, then you need to stay in alignment and not do some and not do other parts of it. So what is your assessment?
I'll say from my experience with working with historic restorations on properties, the historic designation comes into play with the exterior work that's conducted. So that gets reviewed by a board or committee. So anything you do on the exterior has to meet those historic standards. Now, whether just because the city of Dania Beach has it historically designated and not the National Historic the National Park Service, I'm not sure whether they will determine if we have to follow that, but regardless, any work we do here in the state on historic property will have to go to the Broward County Historic Preservation Board for their review, and they would certainly want the city to do historic preservation on the exterior. Now, when it comes to that interior work, my understanding is we can do that any way we want. There's no standards for that historic restoration. Now, there may be, but I'm not an expert, which is why it'd be helpful to have, that RFQ go out.
That's why we're trying to get that consensus here.
And help us determine what we need to do.
And we're holding you back. Right. All right, one more, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, okay, so, going back to what Commissioner Ryan said, and of course what our city manager said, I think that, just reviewing all the comments that are being made, and I'm not trying to be derogatory or anything, but, like we did to the Swanson House, we can't really do a whole lot there because you can't go upstairs. And here we put a lot of money into this, and we are not able to use it as a complete functionable thing because we're not allowed upstairs, because historically it does not pass fire code to go upstairs on the stairwell. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So with that, so we're limited to what we can do at that house after putting 1.2 million plus whatever it costs to move it, plus all the time. And it took us how many years to get to that? 3 or 4 years? Okay. So now we're in the process of doing the Dania Women's Club, and that's almost another $1 million plus what it costs to get it and so on. And we're still a ways away from completing that, which is what, at least another year or two?
No, we should go into construction in about 2 months, and it's going to be a 6-month construction process. So,
okay. All right. So anyhow, so my point is that and then you brought up a great point, I guess, with Commissioner Ryan, and then Anna's saying about the grants. Now, if you come back and say, listen, we can put this, we can fix the house up and get it usable for, walkthroughs or little things like that, because we did a great job. That Public Works did a great job cleaning the outside up. I mean, it just transformed that whole block. I mean, it was crazy. But with them cleaning it up like that, and we did that, if we come back before we would go to the historical situation, we would see how much the grants would be. I mean, if the grants come back excessive, and then we were going to put, say, we were going to put $500,000 into fixing it up, and the grants come back and they give us $1 million, then maybe we do historically resolve it. But I just don't want to spend, I'm trying to work both ends of it here, and I just don't want to see us putting that money out. But if we can get it designated historical and they give us a lot of money for grants, whatever. I just hope it doesn't take 4 years, That's why I was kind of pushing for us to just get it operational, and then if we could apply for the grants and stuff like that. I think the residents would really enjoy walking through that place. Because, I mean, I don't know how many people have walked by there, want to cross that big cement wall, get inside there and look at that. And, when you start thinking about the Swanson house, what, 1930 something you said? And this is 24? This is actually an older house.
13.
Huh?
13.
Oh, okay. I thought you said 25. I'm sorry. Oh,
The Women's Club is 1935.
Okay, all right, so 1935 for the Women's Club, and this one's actually older. So, you know, the thing is that I mean, I've never been in the house. If I did, I was a little boy. I don't remember it. So, but I would like the residents to have the opportunity to see what the city purchased for their $2 million. So, but it's a great investment for us. We could never lose at that. So that's my thought, City Manager. So just
No,
that's one
of course, that makes total sense. And like Sean says, we're not fixated. There could be a hybrid, there could be opportunities, like Sean said, to do the outside and the interior, do it with cost savings. But along the way, keeping you updated is very important, and to be ready to pivot in any direction. But I'll give you an example. Even I worked back in Palmetto Bay in Talata, which is one of the top wedding venues in Miami-Dade County. We purchased it for like $3.6 million, 22 years ago. We ended up getting back 90% of the expenditures just on grants. So we're going to keep the pulse, you know, on the grants at all levels, but also the communication to you guys, and also be able to quickly turn around to open it up as we did with, you know, IT Parker. We're ahead of schedule with C.W. Thomas. So we've been doing a lot, guys, in 5-6 years. I know it takes a long time, but in comparison to other cities, we're moving at the speed of light here. So I couldn't be more confident that we've put it in the hands of Sean and Fernando. And our next step would be to get a consultant, right? To get us more information so we can provide more information to you and to your residents and the community.
Thank you, City Manager, Commissioner Romoli, and then we're going to need to kind of move this thing forward.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. It's going to be really quick. Listen, I listened to everybody, and everyone has very valid points here, but I've lived in Dania Beach for over 25 years, and and in the United States, we're way too quick to knock down historic buildings. You go to Europe, you go anywhere else in the world, and everyone embraces historic buildings. And I think it's really important not to get so tied up on the price tag right now. Let's see what this consultant says about what the cost is going to be. But in my opinion, and I know we're all very conservative here, and we all are very cautious about how we spend our money in Dania Beach, but you can't put a price tag on historical properties, especially the ones that we have left in our city. And whatever we have to do to bring them up to the historical significance that they need to be and should be, I'm all for it. So that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Romoli. I do agree with that. Sean, excellent presentation, and you do have consensus to move forward with the RFQ.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, next up, we have item 3.7, request for proclamation approvals for Hispanic Heritage Month from September 15th through October 15, 2025, sponsored by Commissioner Llewellyn. We have the Greater Trinity Missionary Baptist Church 75th anniversary, November 2025, sponsored by Vice Mayor Salvino. We have Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, September 2025, sponsored by Mayor Davis. We have Hunger Action Month, September 2025, sponsored by Commissioner Romoli. And we have National Diaper Need Awareness Week, September 15th through 2025 by Mayor Davis. So do I have consensus for these proclamation approvals? Okay, Commissioner Llewellyn?
No, I thought you needed a motion, that's all.
Oh, well,
All good.
we can do consensus. All right, thank you so much. All right, up next, we have item 4, which is International Overdose Awareness Day, which will be on August the 31st. Phyllis Barbara was the person who contacted, I think she contacted all of us about this, and her daughter passed away of an overdose. She did attend our Safety Saturdays with Chief Pelissar. And so I did still, even though she couldn't be here with us today, I wanted to read that proclamation, and we will see that it gets to her. Whereas local communities in the United States and around the world are coming together on August 31st, 2025, to remember those who have died and suffered permanent injury due to drug overdose. And whereas the city of Dania Beach does affirm and acknowledge the harm and hardship caused by drug overdose, and whereas we resolve to play our part in reducing the toll of overdose in our community, which claimed the lives of more than 7,827 people in 2022 in the state of Florida and 705 in Broward County in the same year, the highest number of deaths by county in Florida, with countless lives affected forever. And whereas the stigma and fear of judgment often causes people who use drugs to hide their use alone, and avoid seeking help, and whereas the overdose crisis and toxic drug supply continue to have a devastating impact on people who use substances, their families, and communities, affecting people from all walks of life. And whereas observed on August 31st every year, International Overdose Awareness Day seeks to create a better understanding of overdose, reduce the stigma of drug-related deaths, and create change that reduces the harms associated with drug use. Now, therefore, on the behalf of the city of Dania Beach, I, Joyce L. Davis, Mayor of the city of Dania Beach, Florida, do by here proclaim August 31, 2025 as International Overdose Awareness Day in the city of Dania Beach. Thank you. Next, we have item 4.2, which is Hunger Action Awareness Month, that will be read by Commissioner Romoli.
Thank you, Mayor. We actually have someone here, Davika Ramkusan. Oh, thank you. With Feeding South Florida here, and thank you very much for being here. And let me read the proclamation. Whereas since 1981, Feeding South Florida has worked to address hunger and food insecurities in the city of Dania Beach by providing our community immediate access to nutritious food and other vital resources and support. And whereas hunger does not discriminate, it knows no race, religion, or age. In South Florida, approximately 1 million individuals face hunger. Food should not be an impossible choice for the citizens of Dania Beach. And whereas Feeding South Florida leads hunger and poverty advocacy efforts in our community while transforming lives through innovative programs, education that provide economic growth and overall well-being. And whereas the city of Dania Beach is therefore committed to supporting Feeding South Florida so that together we can achieve a hunger-free South Florida. Now, therefore, on behalf of the City of Dania Beach Commission, Joyce L. Davis, Mayor of the City of Dania Beach, Florida, we do hereby proclaim September 2025 as Hunger Action Month in the City of Dania Beach, and we do encourage the citizens of Dania Beach to join me and all of us here on the dais in supporting Feeding South Florida during this month of action.
Thank you, Commissioner Romoli. And do you want to present the proclamation?
We all go down and take a picture? Or?
Absolutely. Well, no.
Yes.
I'm staying up here, my shoes.
You stay here.
Oh, Joyce.
I'm good.
I'm going to take a picture.
Okay, no toes.
Your feet?
No feet.
They are adorable.
No, they're not.
The photo should be mesotorso, like waist up.
Stay away from me. There's our mayor. Okay.
Okay, moving on, we have our administrative reports, starting with our city manager. Madam City Manager.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. Good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, city team, residents that are here and watching on TV, and special guests. It's been an amazing summer break, and while all senior leaders took some well-deserved vacation time, our city, via our deep bench and the continued support that we get from our mayor and commission to retain and recruit and promote the very best, it was truly seamless. And I want to share something. I got a call from Commissioner Remoli, welcomed me back. I was on vacation. Our deputy manager was on vacation. And he said to me something that resonated with me, and it's very important to me. While we miss you guys, I just want to let you know that Fernando and Eleanor did a terrific job. And I want to acknowledge Fernando Rodriguez, our Public Services Director, who was the acting city manager. Thank you. And Eleanor Norena, our Community Development Director, who was our acting deputy manager. You know, we have a plan, and we implement that plan, and it's a high priority, not just for the administration, but for the elected officials in regards to us having a succession plan. So it was a great compliment, really. I took it as a compliment to Candido and I, that they didn't miss us. We miss you, but we didn't miss you. And it was because of the great leadership that we have here. So thank you, team. So even though we took the summer break, we were doing a citywide audit, as you saw, that came out impeccable. We were doing a citywide storm drainage master plan that we're about to complete. We were working with the Arts and Entertainment and Cultural District for our city, and continuing on the resiliency plan. A lot of firsts for our cities and a lot of ongoing successes. Building relationships via economic development and promotion of our city continue to be of great importance for our city and our city commission. To my left is just some of the greatest examples of ambassadors representing us, not just citywide and countywide, but in the state, in Washington, all over the United States. So Candido and I are very proud that we were approached by Business in Focus magazine to do a story on our city. The hidden jewel that we are, as we continue to seize every opportunity, particularly if they're free, to market and promote this great city. So the title of the article for the city is "Say Hello to the Happy City." Let me tell you, we work hard, we play hard, we don't always agree, but let me tell you, we laugh a lot. We laugh a lot. I know all these people's laughter is contagious, and the passion here in our city is turning into great result and great team efforts. So very, very happy about that. As we speak about marketing and communications, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the efforts and the ongoing success of our award-winning marketing and communications team. And thank you. There they are in the back. N-Rod and S-Rod over there. We have a very exciting project coming, and it's part of where we started back in 2020 in Art in Public Places, where we actually get developers to pay for art. But this art that's coming, well, it's actually arrived, and we have a big event scheduled for September the 30th, which is working with the Milton Group, and the Post of the Turtle, which is an art piece by world-renowned artist Wyland, with the deliberate and informative narrative and the lovely photos chosen, has become a record-setting post. As I write this report, and I wrote it last Wednesday, we have had over 2.2 thousand reactions, 4,000 engagement, more than 220,000 views, 250 shares. Our Art in Public Places policy adopted unanimously by our city commission, our arts board, our city staff, Wyland, and the generosity of the Milton Group going above and beyond and bringing and our piece with a value of $1.5 million to our backyard is a game changer and is the only one of its kind in the lower 48s, further cementing that we are not just a place to live, but we are a destination in a very, very unique city that we're all very proud of. We received great news from our Washington, D.C. partner and lobbyist, Josh Gabaton, that the Dania Beach has secured a $1 million allocation in the federal fiscal 2026 Interior, Environment, and Related Agencies Appropriations Bill for our city's wastewater infrastructure improvement project. I know that wastewater, storm drainage, and our streets are extreme important. So we knock on a door, it doesn't open. We move from Tallahassee to DC. So we'll keep you updated on the progress of that appropriation, which really, if it's funded, it will continue to modernize and upgrade our current infrastructure for wastewater. As you know, we are the oldest city in Broward County. One of the projects that we completed during the summer break was the City Hall restrooms. They hadn't been upgraded in like 20 years. So all the bathrooms for staff, for all the residents and come and do business, it's something that we can now be proud of. And all of City Hall has taken a tremendous transformation. And a lot of the work was done in-house by our truly remarkable public services team. And I don't have to tell you guys, because you guys all love the public services team. So thank you again, team, for all the great work out there. So appreciate it. We are planning another Mayor on the Move to be scheduled for next month. Folks, if you haven't seen this woman, she's a natural-born actress. You know, Mayor, I mean, the Mayor on the Move was an initiative to further communicate everything that's going on in our city. So whether it's the newspaper that now you're receiving it twice a month, to our investments in the Dana Beach Press, to the Mayor on the Move, it's truly remarkable. And the next one is going to be all about C.W. Thomas Park. Folks, we are ahead of schedule on this park, and we're extremely, extremely excited because you all want us to invest in parks, in infrastructure, and in quality of life. So that is going to be coming up soon. We're also very, very excited to continue to enhance the marketing, communications, and now tourism, because we want to really take advantage of our geographical position here in South Florida. We are kind of like in the center of it all between Palm Beach and Miami-Dade County. Our proximity to the seaport and the airport is having us look at casting a wider net for our city. We had another successful core conversation meeting on August the 20th, and at IP Parker, we had the opportunity to engage with many new residents and get reacquainted with some of the residents that we already knew. It was great to see a couple from Seaview that are now participating in volleyball. I know this is something that Commissioner Ryan shared with me and Cassie. We are continuing to enhance and augment everything that we do in recreation, from youth to seniors and everyone in between. And what our residents keep telling us, please continue to invest in public safety, in infrastructure. I know Commissioner Llewellyn is smiling because one of the words that first came out of her mouth when I first met her, and she was mayor at the time, was, please, let's continue to invest in infrastructure. Record-setting amount of infrastructure improvements here in our city, our parks, public safety, being aligned with our strategic plan and what you, the residents of Dania Beach, have asked us to do and to invest. We were the first BSO city in Broward County to reach an agreement where both parties agreed on the finances as well as the term of the contract with BSO. And relationships do matter, folks. Relationships do matter. We have a really good relationship with Sheriff Tony. Our finance director has a great relationship with the finance folks at BSO. And there's something to be said about dialogue and good intentions and good rapport. So we're very excited to bring the contract forward to you all for your approval next month. As of Wednesday, August the 20th, we were at 92% completion of our smart meter installation project, a first for our city. So we're probably right now at 96%. and we anticipate by next month to be fully complete with our smart meter water infrastructure. The Frost Park Pickleball Sports Court, we constantly have to be pivoting and not fixated because things change. An old tennis court that is not being used will now be a pickleball, just like we did with the skate park at Frost Park. And we just wanted to let you know, this is something that I've been working very closely with Vice Mayor Salvino, but I wanted all our residents to know that we put back to bid again the project, and the closing date will be September the 8th. Previously, we had received 4 bids. All the bids were deemed to be incomplete. So as much as we want to move things forward, we always want to do things right. So we're looking forward to these new bids coming in, being complete, putting a shovel on the ground, and really celebrating now pickleball at Frost Park. The 34th Court Drainage Project commenced on the first week of August, and we expect that substantial completion of this key project will be complete by the end of this calendar year. We look forward to finishing not just the fiscal year that ends September the 30th, but the calendar year very, very strong and continue to deliver wins for our residents and for our city commission. And that concludes my report. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, City Manager, for that very thorough report with a lot of great news. Next, we have item 5.2, Madam City Attorney.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, and everyone in the audience. I'm going to keep mine short because I'm more like an administrative backup to everything. So everything you see in the agenda, I pretty much have to do all of the legal review on, but that's kind of boring for you all to hear. So just 2 things. This summer, I have spent some time looking at our code to update it based upon the changes in state laws. You know, there were so many laws that came about this past year. Working with Eleanor and Corinne on getting some of those to come forward for planning and zoning. Additionally, I have been meeting with the school board, the county, and the cities that have been paying mitigation fees to the school board for student stations. As you know, there was a law passed at the initiative of Oakland Park that basically eliminates these mitigation fees from the state on to the school board. However, the school board doesn't see it that way, and so we're still trying to negotiate with them. The county has already, as you know, done a resolution saying that they support the elimination of these fees. They also have terminated voluntarily their agreement with the school board to administer their mitigation fees. So I'll keep you posted on that. We're going to be having further meetings.
Thank you, City Attorney. Appreciate that. Next, we have our item 5.3, City Clerk reminders.
Yes, coming up on Monday, September 15th, we have our CRA board meeting at 5:30, followed by our City Commission meeting at 7. And then the second meeting of the month will be on September 25th, City Commission meeting at 7 p.m.
Thank you so much, City Clerk. We will move on to our public safety reports. I was going to say I didn't see him, but yes, there he is. I don't know how you miss him. You can't really miss him. He was hiding back there. But we have, thank you. We have Captain Jason Tarala, our BSO captain. Let's make sure you're going.
There you go. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Attorney, City Manager, and Deputy City Clerk. Tonight will be a little different, just so you know. I'm not going to go over all the arrests we made because I do have a presentation to make tonight. I was in talks with the City Manager last week, and you know, she's always asking me to bring new innovative things to the city, and this is a new innovative project that myself and Chief Sergio, if he wants to come up here too, we're kind of going to be together tonight to bring to you, to let you know of something that we want to bring to the city. And I have our Executive Director of Community Affairs here to give a presentation, a short presentation once we're done, about this program they want to bring to the city that I know the City Manager is very excited about. I'm excited about. I know Sergio is. And we've all worked together, the 3 of us. And I think it's something that you all will be very happy to hear that we're bringing in with his vision and our vision, working together with the City Manager. Will be the first city in Broward County to have both of these working together. Am I right, sir? So I'll talk about that in 1 second. Real quick, just a quick little synopsis. I just want to let you know for our summer break. Over the last summer break, we have made over 320 arrests within the city. 256 arrests from our road patrol, over 23 arrests from our crime suppression team, and 42 arrests from our criminal investigations division. And I also wanted to highlight, over the last 9 weeks alone, we have written over 800 warning citations in traffic citations within our city. And we are up 47% on citations written from this year compared to last year. Not that I'm proud to say we go on to write tickets, but when we spoke last year and we knew we were getting a lot of traffic complaints, the city manager and all of us discussed we needed a traffic deputy. You're seeing the fruits of that traffic deputy being here, hitting those locations that we've discussed where we get the complaints, being up 47% in tickets. That is an educational, life-saving issue within our city. Just last night, we had another individual died in a motorcycle crash. Last week, another individual died in a motorcycle crash. So yeah, unfortunately, writing tickets does suck if you get one because no one likes to get hit in their pocket. But on the other end of it, it is life-saving that we're out there telling people to slow down. And because of that traffic deputy that you guys all allowed us to get in here, we've been able to increase our visibility, and now we're up 47% in citations issued in the city. So hopefully the word will get out there, and we'll continue getting people to slow down. So before I go on to this, I'll let Sergio talk, and then I'll go back to Director Scharf.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, City staff, and the great citizens of Dania Beach. I'm just going to go over two quick little info things. Safety Saturdays, it's amazing because over the last 2 months, everybody's on vacation. 1 month we trained 16 people, the other month we trained 4. So we're over 30 people that we trained in CPR, hands-on CPR, citizens, not firefighters, citizens. So that's great for our city. And then just a reminder, September 11th, we're going to have our 4th annual commemoration. I invite you to get there early. Get there by 8:30. We're going to start at 8:46 prompt. That's when the first tower was struck. And this year, have a lot of help. So Events is helping me out. Cassie's team's helping me out. So we're going to do it better, and we're going to have a lot of community involvement. Thank you.
Thanks, Sergio. Director Scharf, would like to come up, please, and your team. So Director Scharf, like I said, he is the Executive Director for the Broward Sheriff's Office, Department of Community Affairs. And he got with me last week, and he brought up a program that they want to bring to Dania Beach. And it actually goes off the basis of what you brought up, Mayor, a couple months ago when we were talking about mental health and law enforcement, mental health, and helping our citizens. So this is a program, and I'll just give a quick synopsis, and then I'll let him go over the whole program for the law enforcement standpoint, and then I'll let Sergio discuss a little bit about the fire rescue side element of it. But from the law enforcement standpoint, he wants to bring in a new program where we're going to start with our 3 homeless outreach deputies and an FTO from our day shift and FTO on night shift, and we're going to give them a tablet. When we go to these calls dealing with people who are mentally ill, instead of our deputies having to take them to a hospital right away or having not been able to get them immediate help, right? We're now going to be able to give them a tablet where these individuals in need will be able to have a instant connection with a clinician and have that one-on-one contact with the clinician right there on scene to assess their mental health, to assess what they need, to assess whatever we can do to help them. And right there, they'll have that one-on-one where we can take the law enforcement presence away and let them have that one-on-one with a professional clinical person to help them. And I will let him continue on that side of it to explain the program more. But I think that's huge for us in law enforcement, where we can take a step back and we can allow a professional to deal with these people in mental health and get that immediate help for them right there on scene. We don't have to wait anymore. We don't have to take them to the facility. We're kind of bringing the facility to them. So, and I'll let him explain, and Sergio can then explain the fire side of it.
Thank you. Good evening, folks. What I want to introduce to the city of Dania Beach is a comprehensive behavioral health plan that encompasses police, fire rescue, and clinicians. The first part of it that the captain spoke about was a remote co-responder program that we modeled after Cook County in Chicago, where we provide tablets to certain officers on the street who use their own discretion as to when a clinician might be needed or required to quell a situation, to help guide people in the right direction. And not only is the encounter important, but the follow-up. So what we want to do in your city, because we have both fire rescue and police all together. And by the way, I'm the Director of Community Programs. I also chair Broward County's opioid action team. Recently gave up my seat on the commission for behavioral health through the United Way. So I'm intimately involved in the opioid epidemic and problems in our community. We think this is a viable solution to that. You made a proclamation earlier. Dania Beach had the 5th highest number of overdoses in 2024. We think we have the tools and the ability and the skills as a joint team to combat that tremendously and to mitigate those overdoses and deaths. Overdoses and deaths are down nationwide, mainly because of the public education and distribution of Narcan and other things in our community. But we want to bring this to the next level, and we hope you would support us. The second initiative I want to talk about is mobile integrated health, and that encompasses our fire rescue folks. There's people from Lauderhill and from the Opioid Alliance here today support us in this. This is where community paramedics are out in the community, basically helping us do our job, providing follow-up to those who are in the throes of addiction, providing follow-up for those who are discharged from hospitals after overdoses, all in an attempt to reduce the number of overdoses that we have in our community. One of the most frustrating things we've seen is repeat overdoses, sometimes on the same shift. So these efforts are going to be in place in your city, hopefully, to mitigate those issues. So it's innovative, it's new, it's utilizing the resources that we have to bring these clinicians to the streets of Dania Beach remotely and then following up.
Fantastic. No, I think that's great. I think I can't imagine that anybody wouldn't want to support this, and we love to bring another first to the city of Dania Beach always. So thank you. I like this dynamic duo trio presentation here. Maybe we can start something new with that as well, but I do believe we have some questions or comments here from Commissioner Llewellyn.
Of course you do. As you all know, I've been very involved in the homeless outreach and whatnot, and I know a large part of the problem that we have with our homeless population is substance abuse and mental health. Those are two of the big ones, and no other cities in the county are using this yet?
So the tripod approach, no one else. So fire rescue, police, and then my department, community programs, getting together. We have a program in Deerfield Beach that we've unveiled. It's been rather successful. We have a co-responder program in the city of Pompano Beach where peer specialists are actually deployed to possible overdose situations where a person with lived experience will report to a scene and help the officers make a determination on what the next steps would be for somebody who's in distress.
And obviously you're tracking the success of this program,
Yes.
right? And following up as far as finding out what happens with the individuals or that sort of thing?
Yes.
Excellent, great. I'm looking forward to hearing some of the results. So I think this is something that's definitely needed, and I'm very hopeful.
I'll give you one stat. In Pompano Beach, there's been over 400 interactions between our staff and people in crisis. 64% have proven to be positive interventions.
Wow. Good.
Way higher than I thought it was going to be.
Good. I'm glad to hear. Well, Pompano, I know some of the issues in Pompano, so I'm glad to hear that. So hopefully that will be a good thing here. I hope it can be shared further beyond our doors as well. So because that does happen. So anyway, thank you very much for coming, and I'm really excited about this.
Pleasure.
Seeing no more questions, thank you all very, very much for being here.
Thank you, Mayor.
Appreciate it.
Before we leave, I just wanted to just let you know, I am just grateful that we have this partnership. Jason and I are one team. BSO, we're one team, and we work together and we get things done. So I'm looking forward to this. I've been looking forward to this for quite a while. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you much.
I just want to put on the record, if I may, it comes at one of my favorite prices. It's free.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. Yes.
Just in case anybody wanted to know.
Stellar services, free of cost. That is, and this is the creme de la creme over
Again,
here.
that's the beauty with the Broward Sheriff's Office and all the resources that we have. And, that is the great thing about the Sheriff's Office. We have so many of these outside resources that come into our city for free to assist us. And this is just another one of them that he gets to bring in here and bring this innovative initiative here to us. So we're all very
Excellent,
excited.
and we greatly, greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming out this evening. All right, we have next, item 7, our citizens' comments. I do have one here, and I'm going to say this correctly. Sherry Sheely, would you please come up and state your name and address for the record, please?
Thank you, Mayor. Sherry Sheely, 1305 Northwest 10th Street, Dania Beach. Good evening, Commission. I'm a member of the American Legion Auxiliary Unit 304, one of 2 units in Dania Beach. As a member of Unit 304, I have been asked to chair the Children and Youth Committee. I'm here this evening to ask for your assistance and support in promoting my first project, Americanism Essay Contest. It's for schools, churches, synagogues, Boys and Girl Scouts, after-school programs, anywhere that I can reach the children, the youth. The Americanism Essay Project is open to grades 3 through 12, with an additional category for students with special needs. This year's essay title is Celebrating America's 250th Birthday and the Veterans Who Fought for Our Freedom. The Auxiliary National will be awarding $50 to the winner in each category, that's 6 classes, with an additional honorarium in the student's name to the National President's Children of Warriors Scholarship Fund. Dania Beach Unit 304 will award $50 to the student presenting the best essay in each of the classes as we receive them here. So I will be emailing to each of you with the attachment. The attachment I'm including is the packet that I will be using when I reach out, when I get contact with students, parents, teachers, principals, whoever that may be. And I just wanted to give y'all a face and a voice to go with that email. And I thank you in advance very much for your support.
Thank you so much, Sherry. We love our American Legions. We love you. And as an educator, this is something that's extremely exciting for me to get these essays. And we're all, I think, very excited to celebrate our country's 250th birthday. So we will know where those emails are coming from. And if you need direct connections to our schools, we have all built great relationships with our principals here. So please count on us to help support you in this effort.
Thank you very much. That will be wonderful.
Excellent. I do, is this?
Yeah, that's just a regular.
All right, up next, I just received one from Cody McCall. Cody, are you here? Please come up and state your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening. My name is Cody McCall. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I live at 33 Southeast 12th Street. I come to you tonight as an experienced government CFO with the history of delivering public excellence. I've helped cities win the GFOE Award for Financial Transparency, and I've successfully completed 2 of the digital water meter conversions in my career. I've also led bipartisan rate and impact fee adjustments to meet the city's long-term obligations like wastewater treatment plant expansions and plant capacity expansions. I've also been involved with assisting the Florida DOGE with providing the framework and some of the standards that they need to evaluate the efficiencies of local government. I was pleased to see the results of the audit, but one of the things that the audit doesn't really address is whether a policy is a good decision or not. And by that, I'm talking about kind of the elephant in the room, the trim notices that recently come out. So the enterprise funds is one of the things that I want to talk about. One of the core elements of an enterprise fund in municipal finance is it's supposed to be self-sustaining. And some of the core items on the trim levies that were proposed are, of course, stormwater, sewer, things that are important to our city. However, it really sheds light onto the fact that the impact fees and the commercial rate fees are not properly subsidizing all of those costs. And so over time, as you expand in the capacity for the system continues to grow, If we're not collecting that up front, then it's passed on to the taxpayers, which is exactly what's happening with these levies. And so I strongly encourage the city to reevaluate its impact fee structures. I looked at a recent study, and Dania Beach is one of the lowest in the surrounding areas. In our water rates, there's a 2025 South Florida water study that shows that the water rates for the city of Dania Beach are far below some of the highest, and perhaps that we're not covering our full operating costs. And so I encourage the city to take a review at that before making the decision on the final trim amounts. There's other cities that are going closer toward the millage rollback rates, and also reevaluating the utility rates as well to ensure that the cities recuperate the full cost of operating the water and sewer system. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you for that update, sir. Do you have a card or that we can have our administration, city manager get back? Oh, we have your information. We have your, so we will have somebody speak with you directly about that, but thank you for that information. Next, we have the item 8, which is our consent agenda. I will be pulling item 8.13 from the agenda as the meetings have changed and it is no longer necessary at this juncture. I also have a correction to 8.1 on page 13 of 8.1, page 13 of 8.1, we need to add the number 3 to the presentations. So there was some mix up about where it says 3 or 30 presentations. We need to have 3 presentations or 30 minutes for the consent agenda. And that's item 8.1 for the minutes for July 8th. There is just a typo that caused some confusion, and we just want to correct the verbiage there.
Unless anybody else wants to pull something, it would be to approve the consent agenda as amended.
Do we have any other pulls from the consent agenda? All right. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve as amended.
Have a motion from Commissioner Llewellyn. Do you have a second?
Second.
Second from Vice Mayor Salvino. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, the consent agenda passes unanimously. Thank you, Commission. We're rocking and rolling along here. On item 9, we will move on to bids and requests for proposals. Item 9.1. Eve, if you could please read item 9.1.
Yes, Mayor. A resolution of the City Commission authorizing design engineering services and project management services from Kimley Horn and Associates for design and permitting work for the BSO Sally Port in the amount of $199,608, provided for conflicts and an effective date. This is a public services item.
Thank you, Eve. All right, Mr. Sutton, you're up again.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Just to provide some context on what we're going to do, it's a very important security and safety upgrades at BSO. That addition of the Sally Port provides safety to transport any detainees from a new parking lot into the facility, as well as provide a secure back lot for BSO to have parking with new lighting, new security cameras, and access and secure gates. Public Services recommends authorization for these important security upgrades.
Thank you, Sean. Do I have a motion for item 9.1? Commissioner Llewellyn?
Motion to approve item 9.1.
Do I have a second? Commissioner Ryan?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Item 9.1 passes. Vice Mayor didn't vote. It passed. Gotta have some levity in these things. All right. Item 9.2. Eve, if you could please read item 9.2.
A resolution of the City Commission authorizing the award of bid 2025-15 Dania Beach Women's Club Restoration to Emenco Corp. For historic restoration and repairs, provided for conflicts and an effective date, public services.
Thank you, Eve. Do we have anyone? Sean, you were the star. Let's go.
So, thank you very much, Mayor. This is in line with the historic restoration for the Women's Club. Very appropriate comment tonight. This will be, what is it, $885,000. It's going to be for structural repairs, insulation, HVAC replacement, electrical and plumbing upgrades, and restroom expansion to the Women's Club. We anticipate about 8 months for that restoration project, and Public Services recommends.
We all think, I think we all do. This is a long-awaited project that we look forward to. Commissioner Llewellyn?
I will happily move to approve 9.2.
Happily move to approve item 9.2. Do I have a second happily? There we go.
Second.
Have a second from Commissioner Ryan. All in favor say aye. Excellent. Item 9.2 passes unanimously. Next up, we have item 9.3. Eve, if you could please read item 9.3.
Sure, just on the last one, Commissioner, Vice Mayor was not here, so I just want to make that note on the record. A resolution of the City Commission authorizing the award of ITB 2025-19 directional boring and electrical utility installation Phase 3 to BoardTech Utilities and Maintenance in an amount not to exceed $110,625.75, provided for conflicts and effective date.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone, again. This is a very important item. We're actually, the manager and I are very excited to be able to continue to add electricity and proper outlets to all the medians throughout the main corridors. This is Dania Beach Boulevard now. We are about to finish other medians already with that work almost as we speak. This is to add 3 more medians slightly east of Southeast 5th Avenue by the Seaview. This item is to award this ITB for $110,000 to go under the ground directional boring like we did before in Griffin and other places, and we will continue to other thoroughfares afterwards. This ITB is very important to be able to do it in time for this holiday season, to be able to have that entire Dania Beach Boulevard lit up with the holiday lights. So we're looking forward to your approval.
Thank you, Fernando. Not only the city manager, you know I love that we've been going in these phases for the holiday lights for a long time, and I love the holiday season, so thank you for moving forward with that. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve item 9.3.
I have a motion from Commissioner Ryan. Do I have a second? Commissioner Llewellyn?
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? All right.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Fernando. And we look forward to those lights in the holiday season. 9.3 passes unanimously, and we will move. Next, we have item 9.4. Eve, if you could please read item 9.4.
A resolution of the City Commission authorizing the Commission to rank the 4 firms that responded to the request for qualifications 2514 design services for Chester Bird Park improvement for design services related to construction at the park, and to authorize contract negotiations to begin with the top-ranked consultant, provided for conflicts and an effective date, Parks and Recreation.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Commissioner, City Manager, and City Attorney. This is an exciting another step in the infrastructure and the redevelopment of Parks and Recreation and part of our master plan. We received a FERDAP grant for this project, our 3rd FERDAP grant that we have received in the city. Our first step is now to bid out the design of the project. So we are currently bringing the top 4 ranked firms before you tonight. If approved, we will negotiate the agreement with the top ranked firm and bring that before you for approval to then begin the design of the project.
Fantastic news, Cassie. Do I have a motion?
Yes, you do. Motion to approve 9.4. This is one I've really been waiting to see happen. So I'm very excited, and I know the neighborhood's going to be really excited about this too. So.
Yes. We are all very excited. Thank you, Commissioner Llewellyn. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from
I'm
Commissioner.
excited.
We're all excited. We love. Thank you, Cassie. All in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. All right, item 9.4. Thank you, Cassie. Passes unanimously. All right, we are rocking and rolling on to item 10, quasi judicial and public hearings. Item 10.1, Eve, if you could please read item 10.1.
Yes, Mayor. Before I did, the next four items are all quasi-judicial. So we're talking about Cooper's Hawk, R. Roma Holdings, AMOPT LLC, and Bracha Dania Beach LLC. If anybody wants to speak on these, including staff, could you just raise your right hand and so you can be sworn in? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay, thank you. So on these, I'm going to read the first one first, and I'll ask the commission for any disclosures on each item as they come forward. And again, there will be time for public comments from the public generally after the presentations. A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Dania Beach approving the application submitted by Dania Live 1748 II LLC and Cooper's Hawk Inc. for an extended hours alcohol sales license for the restaurant known as Cooper's Hawk, located at 1822 Point Boulevard, Dania Point, Dania Beach, provided for conflicts and an effective date. This is a community development item, and does the commission have any disclosures to make? Anybody communicating with them on this project? Seeing none.
Good evening, my Vice Mayor, Commissioners. This item before you tonight is for Cooper's Hawk, located at 1822 Point Boulevard. The application is for an extended hours alcohol. The existing zoning district is a planned mixed-use district, and the future land use is a regional activities center. It's a 8.5 acre, and it's a mixed-use restaurant, Cooper's Hawk, and there are no open violations at the property. As you can see at the map, the location of the restaurant is facing I-95 within Dania Point complex, and the background of the property is, or actually the business, Cooper's Hawk has been operating with an active business tax receipt as a winery and a restaurant, and their current regulations of the city establish that no person or vendor or distributor shall sell, offer, or offer for sale or deliver any liquor or packaged containers between the hours of 2 a.m. and 12 p.m. on Sundays. So the request before you tonight is to align with other locations, and the applicant is proposing to extend the restaurant services to open for brunch services on weekends only, starting at 10 a.m. In addition, the customers will be able to pick up the wine of the month. So the extended hours license criteria requires for the applicant to provide enough justification to demonstrate that the parking is not impacted, that they don't have any issues increasing operations on law enforcement, or that extended hours will be adversely impacting the neighbors around it. And the applicant has provided justification to all of that. The applicant as well conducted a community outreach on April 29th, and we didn't have any attendees besides Commissioner Ryan, and we have not received any objections about it. As well as this application had to be reviewed by the Planning and Zoning before it came to you for recommendation, and we have a 4-to-1 vote to recommend approval on this item. And the recommendation before you tonight is the community development is recommending approval of the resolution for the extended hours liquor license, and I'm available if you have any questions.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Is anybody here to speak for or against item 10.1? Okay, seeing no one, do we have a motion? I don't know how to use this thing. You can put out, push it if you want. I'm the vice mayor, I'm not the mayor, okay?
Chair right now. You're acting chair right now.
I'm in half a chair.
All right, active chair Salvino. I'd like to make a motion to approve item 10.1.
Have a second? Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, good. Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Okay. Item 10.2, Eve, you want to read it?
Yes, sir. A resolution of the City Commission approving the site plan modification submitted by the applicant R. Roma Holdings for the properties located at 4432-4440 Southwest 52nd Street to allow a second story to 3 of the 4 single-family homes, providing for conflicts and an effective date. This is community development. Any disclosures? Seeing none.
Okay. This next application is for a site plan modification at the property 4432 through 4440 Southwest 52nd Street. The property is an existing zoning district for a 2-family residential district, RD 8000, and it's a low, medium, 10 units per acre. The property's net is 0.79 acres, and the existing use right now, it's vacant, and it has 1 single-family home, and there are no open violations at the property. The property is east of 441 and north of Southwest 54th Street. And the request before you tonight, because the applicant is increasing the footprint on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th units, is why it's coming before you. They are adding footprint to the proposed buildings. So the developer received approval from the City Commission for the construction of 4 single-family homes back in March. And the applicant has modified the previous design to expand the living space to the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th units. These are the existing conditions of the property viewed from Southwest 52nd Street. And the modification includes additional of a 2nd story for the units. So the unit number 1 will remain as 1,420 square feet, whereas the units 2nd, 3rd, and 4th will increase to 2,653 square feet. The units provided sufficient parking to supplement the additional square footage proposed, incorporating 2 car garages in addition to the proposed driveways to the original site plan. This is what they're proposing. They kept the same building footprint. They just went up to the 2nd story. And these are the proposed renderings for the units. As I mentioned, the first unit will remain as 1 floor, 1 story, and then the other 3 will go up to 2nd story. The applicant has provided resiliency efforts, and the site plan identified 53.87% of land for pervious areas, and it meets the pervious minimum requirement of 37% as required by the Land Development Code. This modification supports the future land use policy for a mix of residential options, as well as proposed development and future land uses that should be compatible with the existing neighborhoods, and as well as achieving a supply of housing that offers variety for the community. The community outreach the applicant conducted was held on July 23rd via Zoom. We didn't receive any objections or comments about it, as well as the city conducted the public hearing notices to 1,000 feet around the site. And the item went through the DRC process on June 6th, and although they have comments, the applicant these comments are conditions of approval that have to be addressed prior to the permit issuance. These items will impact the budget positively while providing public art impact fee and recreation space of $7,300 for the 4 units. As of now, the community development is recommending approval of the site plan modification resolution, provided that the remaining DRC comments are made conditions of approval and must be addressed before the permit issuance. And I'm available if you have any questions.
Any questions? This is a public hearing. Is there anyone who wishes to speak for or against this item?
Just good morning or good evening, Madam Mayor and Commissioners. Welcome back from vacation. Just so the record is clear and my client knows I was here, Rod Finer on behalf of the applicant with Coker and Finer, 1133 Southeast 4th Avenue. I think staff has done a very adequate job. You probably remember this from a couple months ago. We're just adding a second story. We're not even increasing the footprint of the building, just going up. So we're happy to answer any questions you would have. And of course, we have no objections to the staff conditions.
Thank you. Does anyone else from the public wish to speak? We will close the public hearing. And do I have a motion?
Make a motion, Mayor.
Hold on. Oh, you're already on. Go ahead.
10.3.
Go ahead, Vice Mayor.
I made a motion, we passed 10.3.
10.2.
Except 10.2, sorry, 10.2.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Commissioner Romoli. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. All right, item 10.2 passes unanimously. Thank you. Next, we have item 10.3. Eve, if you could please read item 10.3.
Yes, Mayor. A resolution of the City Commission approving the site plan modification and design variation submitted by the owner AMOPT LLC for the property generally located at 25 West Dixie Highway, providing for conflicts and an effective date. This is a community development item. Are there any disclosures by the City Commission? Seeing none.
Thank you, Eve. This is a public hearing. And does anyone wish to speak for or against this item? Or go ahead. Go ahead, community development. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Go ahead.
It's okay. The item before you tonight is a design variation and a site plan modification for the property located at 25 West Dixie Highway. This property is located in the South Federal Mixed Use District. It's within the Regional Activity Center. It's a 1.23 acre, and the current use is a specialty school, and there are no open violations of the property. So this is the location of the property, right in front of West Dixie Highway. And the site plan modification before you tonight, it's to install a 25-foot high prefabricated steel climbing structure with a canopy to be used for training. So some background on the property, it received a previous approval for a 14,170 square foot training facility, and it encompasses two parcels, one facing South Federal Highway and West Dixie Highway. The building was constructed in 2023, and it's currently occupied by STAR, which is AMO training facility. Along with the site plan, the design variation before you tonight is to, the code requires to provide an 8 to 12 foot setback build to line, because that's what the form code requires. And the request before you, it's to provide, instead of an 8 to 12 foot setback, they're proposing a 24 build to line setback to align with the existing wall that it's at the property, so they are meeting the same alignment with the existing building. With the justification provided by the applicant, they reduce the structure from public view and the appropriate location for these, since it's going to be within the perimeter wall. This is the proposed location for the structure, and these are some images of what structure are they aiming to install. And here would be how it's going to look like from Dixie. And the applicant has provided resiliency efforts on the site plan, identifying 45% of the land as pervious where the code requires 15%. And as well, the site plan and the design variation furthers the city's future land use policy by providing commercialized activities to serve the residents of the community, maintaining land development regulations, providing safe and convenient on-site traffic, as well as continuing to respect the privacy of the property owners. The community outreach conducted by the applicant was held on July 22nd via Zoom, where we did not receive any objections, and as well, community development provided public hearing notices within 1,000 feet of the site. The item went through DRC review on May 2025 and June 2025, and there are outstanding staff comments that are made conditions of approval into this resolution. And as of now, the community development is recommending approval for both the design variation and the site plan modification, making the conditions of approval conditions into the resolution. And I'm available if you have any questions.
All right, I believe we do. Commissioner Ryan?
Yeah, you already gave the disclosure, right? There's no comments on this?
Oh, this is a public hearing. Does anyone wish to speak for or against this item? Seeing none, public hearing is closed.
All right, with no more further comments, I would like to approve item 10.3.
Thank you, Commissioner Ryan.
I mean 10.4, right?
10.3.
Yeah, 10.3. Yeah, 10.3. Yeah, I'd like to approve item 10.3.
Thank you, Commissioner Ryan. Commissioner Ramoli.
Second.
I have a second from Commissioner Ramoli. All in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. All right, item 10.3 passes unanimously. Thank you. All right, we are moving on. Next, we have item 10.4. Eve, if you could please read item 10.4.
Yes, Mayor. A resolution of the City Commission approving the site plan and design variations submitted by the owner, Bracha Dania LLC, for the property located at 225 through 255 East Dania Beach Boulevard, providing for conditions, conflicts, and an effective date. Are there any disclosures? No. Seeing none.
Okay, last one.
Oh, no, I do. I did speak with the developer regarding this item, and I can remain impartial.
Perfect, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, so the Vice Mayor also spoke with the developer. Anybody else? Commissioner Ryan? And you all feel that you can remain impartial after having received that communication?
Vice Mayor?
Yes, thank you.
He said yes. Oh, he said you can remain impartial.
Yes, I can. I think so.
Okay. The application before you is for the property located at 225 to 55 East Dania Beach Boulevard. And the property, the existing zoning is an East Dania Beach Boulevard mixed use. It's inside the Regional Activities Center with the land use designation. It is a 4.8 acres property. The existing use is an office, and there are no open violations on the property. The property is encumbered by 4 streets: Fronton Boulevard to the east, East Dania Beach Boulevard to the south, Northeast Second Court to the west, and Northeast First Terrace to the north. And a little background on the property: the subject is a 3.26 property located west of, on the corner of East Dania Beach Boulevard and Fronton Boulevard. The property is currently operating as an office, and the site has been surrounded by the Dania Casino to the east, multifamily residential to the north, and commercial uses to the west and south. On June 10th, 2025, the site received a text amendment approval by the City Commission to modify the existing building height from 4 stories to 7. So this is the existing condition, view from East Dania Beach Boulevard. And the request before you tonight is for site plan approval to construct a mixed-use project with 3 7-story condo hotel buildings, 19,677 square feet of commercial use, and 18 townhomes. Along with the townhomes, there's a design variation relating to building frontage for the townhomes facing Northeast First Terrace, my apologies. So this is the rendering of the proposed site plan. The building to the west and central towers will contain 84 hotel units, and the tower to the east will have 168 hotel rooms. The combined commercial area is 19,677 square feet with a shared parking garage with a total of 486 parking spaces with 121 lift parking mechanisms, 52 spaces for valet services, and 64 bike racks for overall development. To meet the compatibility requirements, the development includes 18 townhomes to the north, to buffer the proposed uses from the established residential areas. The project is required to meet the CRA standards. This is a rendering facing East Dania Beach Boulevard. These are the three buildings. And this is a rendering showing the townhomes to Northwest First. So the design variation before you tonight is for the first layer, where the code requires a 30-foot deep of the first layer. The applicant is proposing 25. And the applicant has justified the design by providing the justification as an urban infill redevelopment to activate the pedestrian activity, to appropriate location of the buffer between the mixed uses and the residential component to the north, and to preserve the traffic circulation at the second layer while meeting the first layer requirements. The applicant as well provided resiliency efforts, identifying 12% of the land as pervious, where the code requires 10%. The item went before the Development Review Committee on October 2024, March 2025, May 2025, and July 2025. And although they have several outstanding comments, they are to be addressed before the building permit issuance. This approval of the site plan will enable the site's redevelopment, expanding the city's tax roll, and will require payment for public art fee, RAC impact fee, and recreation and open space. The application supports the city's comprehensive plan by furthering the future land use goals of encouraging development to enhance tax base by commercial, office, employment center, industrials, land uses, and by allowing the permitted uses to be matching the comprehensive plan. The applicant, at staff's request, conducted a community outreach on July 28th via Zoom. 2 members of the public attended, and they voiced their favor to the project. And as of tonight, the Community Development Department is recommending approval of the resolution for the design variation and the site plan, providing the remaining comments are conditions of approval to be addressed before the permit is issued. And the applicant is here if you have any questions.
Thank you. I know we do have, this is a public hearing. Do we have anyone from the public that wishes to speak for or against? I know you want to hear from the applicant first and then the public? I'm gonna she's been waiting a long time, so yeah. I'm gonna have her speak, and then if there's anything to be addressed, the developer can do that because
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I'm a resident of Dania Beach, and I live on Northeast First Terrace along with my neighbors and friends, and we have some concerns about the thing that you want.
Excuse me, ma'am, I just want to make sure we have your name and address for the record, please.
Cindy Pascal, 235 Northeast First Terrace, Apartment B, Dania Beach. Okay, so we have some concerns about this. The drainage there right now stinks. So it's always flooded. What it will happen when this starts going up? Are we going to be flooded worse? Or is it going to get less? That needs to be addressed, as the drainage in that area. Also, it's Northeast First Terrace is a one-way street. Now, if one of the police officers sat behind there, I'm sure they can give tickets all day long. Nobody listens. And if you build more, what are we going to do? I mean, where are we supposed to park and stuff? There's not enough for us to park. There should be no exit or entrances onto that block to begin with. Then you got Fronton and Dania Beach Boulevard. That right now is backed up, even for us, sometimes to get out, to try to get onto Fronton, to make a left. It's impossible. We have to wait a few lights, which is crazy. The cops, the pedestrians have right-of-ways, cyclists have right-of-ways. There are so many accidents over there because people do not pay attention. And, there's already so many things being built over on Dania Beach Boulevard, which they have not all been rented yet. So what is this going to do? I mean, we can see from where we live, we're right behind where the drive-through is. We can see Dania Beach all the time. We know when it gets crowded. We know when there's going to be an accident. It's like certain times a day. You know, I mean, and if this goes up, what does it do to us? So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Ms. Pascal. I do appreciate your comments, and we do take them to heart. We do have the developer here who can probably address some of your concerns as well. But thank you for your comments, and we do have you on record to reach out if needed in the future.
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Attorney, City Manager, and Deputy Clerk. Ed Stacker with Schutz and Bowen in Fort Lauderdale. All the way from Japan is Hector Hoxman of Urbanica, the architect for the development, and Mr. Ralph Braha is also here this evening, who is the managing principal of the entity. In response quickly to some of the expressed concerns, as you know, today that site is over 3 acres, and a significant portion of it is a sea of asphalt parking. And I think that causes a lot of the drainage issues. When you, in today's development and redevelopment, there are standards that are way up here as far as what you need to do in retaining on-site, and we're actually putting in a lift station that will be incorporated in our stormwater drainage into your all's system. So I think that the neighbors will be pleasantly surprised with the ultimately after it's built out as to the lack of any issues with respect to stormwater. I'm not sure necessarily the parking. There's 486 parking spaces that are being provided for the overall project, and those townhomes are part of that overall project. So I don't think there'll be a parking issue, and I don't recall exactly what the other concerns were, but we have reviewed your staff's, we worked very closely, as you saw. We went to several DRC meetings, and we've worked very closely with your staff. And we know that there are several conditions, many conditions of approval that are incorporated into the resolution. We concur with all those conditions and look forward to moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stacker. I'm going to put it back out to the public. Is there anybody else from the public who wishes to speak for or against this item? Mr. Stacker, please come back to the podium. Not too far. We got a couple questions here, but no one else from the public. All right, the public hearing is now closed. Question from the Vice Mayor.
Hi. I have just a couple questions. Mentioning the one-way street that's there, and either I missed it and I'm looking on the backup, that's going to be, are you putting a two-way street in there, or is that?
No, it's right out only on heading east.
One way?
Right, and it's right only, right turn only.
How come that with the expansion of that building and the little bit of space that would be there, that we wouldn't turn that into a two-way street at this time? That's a concern.
That's something that could possibly be
I think that's a concern. I mean, two reasons is that, I mean, you know, you're putting a lot of building there, and the parking the streets haven't changed, and I don't know how the city approved that, the staff approved that. I'm concerned with that. I would question it. Okay, and I mean, I'll bring it up to the commission. I think that it's a situation where I think there should be a two-lane street put in just about like the rest of the city and not get away with that. That's old stock. There's nothing back there. It's an empty parking lot, like you said. There's not a lot of traffic. When you put all those houses and the townhouses in there, one-way street is going to congest it. I know there's going to be 3 or 4 different entrances.
Well, there's four, we have frontage, obviously, as you know, on 4 streets.
Okay.
And
Well, I love your project.
back on that
yeah.
northern side is the 18 townhomes.
Right, I understand that, but that's 18 more townhomes that have 18 more, 36 more cars and on that street. And then as far as concerning the parking for the residents, not to be disrespectful, but you have your own parking. And, if you don't have enough parking, you were parking somewhere else, that's something you'll have to figure out. But, whether you're using the bank or whatever it was, we all like that luxury, but that'll go away. But the 2 concerns I have are the street, and as we all know, it's not your fault or the developer's fault or anything else. But while we're working on our drainage systems throughout the city, it's something that I don't know development-wise if you can even do it. I know I heard you say you're going to put. That's great after the project's done, but while we're building that project and the dirt builds up and everything else, and it gets higher than the street, maybe we can put something on the outside edge in certain areas where you maybe dig a hole where the water would just fall back into it. Only if we have you don't even have to do it until it starts to rain or you see rain coming. But I just, if we can leave it alone, but if it becomes a problem, I'd like to, put it on record that maybe you would agree to digging it down a little bit so the water would come back off the street into there and not flood the road out.
Well, again, we'll work with city and staff and address it as necessary. And the roadway, obviously, we had a traffic consultant and the city had outside traffic consultants and they analyzed everything. I'm not saying that there's not a way to improve that and to be looked at, but we'll work with the staff.
I'm good with the I like the project. I like the building's old. I think everything on the street at Dania Beach Boulevard is looking better. I think it's cleaner. It's inviting to people. I think it's going to up the value of the residents. I mean, and to me, that's an all positive, but I really want to protect what's there for the residents because I just think that a skinny little street like that there, so I would ask you to review that part of it.
Okay.
Yeah, sure, come on in.
To the center of the street. Hector Hoxman, the architect of the project.
Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Hector Hoxman, 901 Pennsylvania Avenue, Miami Beach, Florida.
Okay. Thank you.
To the center of the street, we have 25 feet. So this street is 50 feet. I think it's part of the public services in the city to expand that street if you want. But to our side, we are to the center 25 feet, complying with the entrance and exit of those cars that will be. So at this moment, the street is narrow, but I think Public Works should be addressing this issue because it's a city property.
Okay, well, I don't like that answer.
And I think we should work together with them.
Well, I think you should do it now. I mean, I was trying to look at an easy way to make it resolve and help you with your project, but I don't think the city, with all our development that's going on in our city and all the developers that are participating in drainage systems, improving the roads, improving the sidewalks, and you want the city to pay for a road for your project?
No.
Well, that's what it sure sounds like.
What I'm saying is something else.
No, I think what he's saying is that there is some flexibility there for us to work with staff.
Okay, well, I think you should work with staff and put a two-way street in. That's what I'd like to see. That's my vote when the time comes up.
Which there is room for that.
Well, I mean, that's now if the city says there's not, but it's your property it's going to go on. So I guess you'd have to. I don't know. Okay, Ed, I know you know how to handle it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Commissioner Romoli.
Thank you, Mayor and Vice Mayor. I'm agreeing with you on this, but I'm like really confused about how you're going to get people in and out of these buildings when the Fronton Road there's no way to make a left-hand turn going north if you're coming off Dania Beach Boulevard. So are you following me?
You're
coming east on Dania Beach Boulevard, you're going to make a left on Fronton Boulevard. There's no way to enter your buildings from that street. Now, bear with me one second. I don't know where the traffic is coming from to get into your buildings, because you don't have Dania Beach Road accessed into your parking garage, correct?
Now, we do have.
You do have access on Dania Beach Boulevard
Yes,
to the parking garage?
yes.
Okay, I don't see that on here. So, I mean, if that was a big concern of mine, because that's going to mitigate some of that traffic.
Well, it
that's going to be
certainly will.
behind your building.
Yeah, we had that.
So,
I didn't see that on there.
I didn't really see it. So I just want a clarification to make sure that, because that's going to, I mean, the actual traffic congestion is going to stack up there, as our resident was saying. So I just want to make sure we're all on the same page here, that there's going to be enough access off of Dania Beach Boulevard to accommodate the parking garages for those buildings.
Well,
So if I'm reading and seeing this correctly, the only traffic that should be on that street would be for the townhomes.
for there, so
On Northwest
On Dania
Terrace.
Beach Boulevard.
Are you following me?
Traffic should be at the
Okay.
townhomes.
Can we get a
That's correct,
visual
that's
on
correct.
that? Oh, okay, thank you.
the only traffic is for the townhomes on Terrace, northeast First Terrace.
Okay. fine.
Good evening.
You're with me,
Hi.
right, Corinne, on
Yes,
this?
I get it.
Okay.
So if you look at the screen now on East Dania
No, I
Beach
know.
Boulevard,
We need to
Um,
have one at a time. Thank you.
on East
Grace.
Dania Beach Boulevard, there's two access points
Okay, now I see
to
it.
the site.
Okay.
The further one east is the entrance into the garage. So what that would happen is traffic traveling east on Dania Beach Boulevard would go to the light in front of, right, and have to do a U-turn to get into that site at that location on East Dania Beach Boulevard. And then the second exit further to the west, that's the exit point that goes out. And then that pushes traffic west to Federal Highway. The other thing about the northeast First Terrace being one way pushing the traffic to the east to Fronton, it makes the traffic then turn right onto Dania Beach Boulevard and again out to Federal Highway. This is preventing traffic circulation into the northeast neighborhood, and it's pushing it out onto Dania Beach Boulevard, so we're not impacting that neighborhood as much.
Right, which is a big concern on my part. And I saw that part of it, and I like that part of it, that's not pushing it back north.
Right.
But I was concerned about the on the diagram here, I didn't see the entrances on Dania Beach Boulevard. So the one to the east is an entrance, and the
Into-
one to the north is an exit.
Correct.
Okay. So, and then I think you answered my question, Mr. Is the only traffic that we really should see behind your building would be for the townhomes?
That's correct.
There is no exit from the building on, okay, perfect. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Ramoli. Commissioner Ryan.
Oh, yeah, I have a couple of questions for the applicant. So with the three buildings, the 3 7-story buildings, one is going to be a hotel, and then the other two are condo hotels.
That's correct.
And then you have 18 townhomes, but none of them are available for individual ownership, right? It's all going to be owned and rented, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, what I would like to see,
Well, the condo hotel units,
they're going to be individually owned?
well, they're condo hotels, conceivable. But, no.
Can you
there's-
explain that condo hotel?
This whole project is one project, and it's anticipated that it will be, the 18 townhomes will not be sold. They will be part of the rental project. And, sorry?
We'll just, if you want to
Go ahead.
clarify.
Continue,
because I
Mr.
wanna-
Stacker. Yeah, I just want to know. So yeah, all of it is for rental, the whole property, correct? Yeah, I understand with the condo hotels, but I would definitely like to see those 18 townhomes available for individual purchase. I think it's more of an investment into the community, and it shows that, you care about home ownership, and, that increases our property tax value as well on top of it.
Well, that is something in the future that could be explored, a form of ownership, but there are certain criteria that relate to, in your code, the size of townhome lots, individual lots, that these don't meet. And so it was it recognized that since this was envisioned to be a rental product, that it didn't need to meet those code requirements.
Can you help me with that, Corinne?
And before she does, just so you know, I think everybody appreciates the desire to have ownership, but it's not something that we can dictate.
So if the properties were to be owned, now you have to establish property lines for the sale of each of the individual units. And so, thank you, Mr. Stacker had said, is that there are minimum requirements in our code, but because they're going to be rented, those property lines weren't established because it's going to be a rental. So it would just require another variance if that's what.
They would have to get a
chose
variance to
happen.
identify
Yes.
property lines?
Correct.
There's
Well,
no,
to identify the property lines that are smaller than the code allows.
what's the minimum requirement for code? It's like,
2,500 square foot per home, per townhome. So the, part of the reason, there was also a design variation because it's not as deep as we currently require. It's just all part of an infill development site.
what are they right now? Do we know? Do you have any idea?
You need to come to the microphone.
So the code requires them to be 30 feet deep, and they're requesting the design variation to be at 25.
Okay, okay. So they could get a variation eventually. All right, thank you. No more questions from me.
Thank you, Commissioner Ryan. Vice Mayor.
Yes, thank you. You know, I see where you're coming from, Commissioner, but it gets so late in the game. I think, unless we all missed it, I think next time that we have a presentation that we're going to build a hotel in the front and we're going to have this and then we're going to build townhomes in the back, I think it should be designated that they're not part of an opportunity for short-term rentals. And because now we're into almost like an Airbnb situation, I believe if I'm asking that question.
So this is a unique use in that the state took most of our powers away. We were lucky that we established it before the state, deadline, so we have some regulations. However, the regulations that we have in place really are only applicable to single family and duplex. So when you get even in an apartment complex, if there's a vacation rental, it's up to the management company to manage those vacation rentals because the city's out of it. We only regulate single family duplex in terms of vacation rentals. So our code for vacation rental would not apply to this particular property, regardless of ownership or anything.
Then our code that applies to that property is as if they rent a regular house or own a house, if they have excessive noise, stuff like that.
There is no code for vacation rental that would apply to this property. The city would rely on the management company of the property to maintain and control over those vacation rentals. The city's noise ordinance would still apply.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to get to.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, no problem. I like the project and everything. I think when I agreed, I just thought they were for sale like Commissioner Ryan did. I was a little caught off guard on that. But if you can work on the road and just keep the drainage down, I would appreciate that.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Hold on, Mr. Stacker, you are not done.
You're going to earn your money with that.
Commissioner Llewellyn.
Actually, Corinne, in addition to the noise ordinance applying, the parking ordinances would also apply.
Yes, that's correct.
So if there's excessive parking on the street or something like
Yes,
that, then
of
that
course.
would be addressed.
Yes, of course.
Do we know if they're planning on having any any type of like a homeowners association, or it's not homeowners, I guess, because it's not.
It would just be the management
can't-
company that would
It's a
be
rental, so you
controlling.
can't do, it's just strictly property management. Okay.
If you choose to see it this way, the good news is there's one property owner, Mr. Braha. So we establish a relationship. If there's a problem, Mr. Braha would be there to address it.
So would you be hiring your own outside property management company, or you are the management company?
I think that remains to be seen, but to be honest with you, it could be either.
Okay.
But we have control over it, and we understand loud and clear.
Yeah. I do hope that, because we do have our neighbors who have been here and expressed their concerns and been here for a long time. And so as we build and we grow, we want to ensure that the people who have been there and established, that their concerns are being directly addressed as this goes forward. I know you will work with our staff to address all of their concerns and the concerns of this commission, but we really want to make sure that you have heard and listened to everyone with that development, and we will make sure that you are accountable for your actions as far as bringing this to the commission and keeping in best practices.
Of course, thank you.
All right, and let's move on. And we have, okay, let's go. Do I have a motion?
Yes, and I'm going to make the motion. I just want to ask staff to continue to follow up on that street, please, and let me know. I'd like to make a motion past 10.4.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Do I have a second? Second from Commissioner Llewellyn.
Second. Oh, sorry. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
All in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. All right, item 10.4 passes unanimously. Thank you. All right. We will move on to item 11, first reading ordinances. There are none, so we will move on to item 12.1. Second reading ordinances. Eve, if you could please read item 12.1.
An ordinance of the City Commission amending Chapter 28 Land Development Code, Part 2 Site Development Regulations, Article 265 Off-Street Parking Requirements, add Section 265-50 Off-Street Parking Required, On-Street Parking Credit, in order to reduce the required parking for hotels in the CRA Form-Based Zoning District, providing for codification, conflict severability, and an effective date. Yesterday, there was an amendment made to the agenda to include a revised ordinance. It is a clarifying ordinance, and if you turn to the ordinance, it should be on the dais in front of you at page 2. The language relating to the CRA form-based district under the schedule of minimum off-street parking requirements, you will see a double underlining, and the language is: in the CC-EDBB-MU and Gateway MU districts, 0 parking required, comma, if supported by the required parking analysis and subject to the approval of the Community Development Director. The lovely Miss Norena. And the reason for this is if they can show the justification, the parking could go down to 0, but if they can't provide the justification sufficient, they have to provide additional parking.
Thank you, Eve, for that clarification and the amendment to item 12.1. This is a public hearing. Does anyone wish to speak for or against this item? Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Vice Mayor.
Make a motion past 12.1, Mayor.
I have a motion from Vice Mayor. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Commissioner Ramoli. Commissioner Ryan, did you have? Okay. All in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. All right. Item 12.1 passes unanimously. On to next, we have item 12.2. Eve, if you could please read item 12.2.
Bear with me on this one. It's an ordinance of the City Commission amending Chapter 28, the LDC at Part 3, Special Zoning District, Subpart 1, Community Redevelopment Agency, Form-Based Zoning District, to create the Beach Gateway Mixed-Use 2 District at Section 30375, the Gateway MU2 Beach Gateway Mixed-Use District, also to provide for the following revisions: amending Article 300, how to use Section 300-70, commonly used abbreviations, Article 302, detailed use regulations, 302.10, permitted, special exception and prohibited uses, Section 302.40, mixing of uses, Article 304, building height and transition regulations, Section 304.10, entitled generally, Article 307, landscape regulations, Section 307.10, on-site landscaping requirements, amending Part 1 of the use regulations, Article Article 100, General Use Regulations applying to all zoning districts, Section 100-60, Establishment of Zoning Districts, Article 105, Use Regulations for residential and open space zoning districts, Section 105-170, community residential homes and residential care facilities, Article 110, use regulations for commercial and mixed-use districts, Section 110-20, list of permitted, special exception, and prohibited uses, amending Part 2, site development regulations 200, user guide for Part 2 of the code, Section 200-40, how Part 2 of the code relates to the CRA form-based and PMUD regulations, amending Article 265, off-street parking requirements, Section 26591, parking reductions for transportation demand management strategy implementation within the CRA form-based districts, amending Article 275, landscaping requirements, Section 275-170, landscape requirements for screening, amending Part 5, signage and design regulations, Article 505, sign regulations, Section 505-20, definitions, amending Section 505-90, signage regulations for mixed-use CRA form-based zoning districts, amending Section 505-210, community redevelopment area design incentives, amending Part 7, code administration, Article 700, code administration and legal provisions, Section 725-30, terms defined, provided for codification, conflict, severability, and an effective date. This is a community development item.
Good evening.
Good job. All right. All right. Thank you, E, for that very lengthy reading of the ordinance. Commissioner Ryan.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I have a conflict. I need to recuse myself from this item. Too many family members in the crowd.
And the form has already been filed with the city clerk.
Can we just, for public transparency, state why Commissioner Ryan is not able to vote on this item?
I believe he just did, but there's a conflict from his family. His father and his uncles are the owners of the property.
Thank you, for the record.
Good evening. Just as a brief recap, this is second reading of this text amendment. It's essentially creating a new district to allow one additional height and to allow additional density. Originally, the application came in at 85 units per acre. The applicant has since between first and second reading, reduced their request down to 75 units per acre. It is second reading. Staff's recommending approval, and I know the applicant is here and has a presentation to make.
Thank you, Corinne.
Good evening. My name is Dennis Mealy, 200 East Broward Boulevard, Fort Lauderdale, on behalf of the applicant, and we have some slides to show. So this is the current mixed-use gateway district. You see the Fifth Avenue as the eastern or western boundary, and very close to the city limits, the eastern boundary. This shows you the municipal boundaries because I wanted you to see that there's a lot of Hollywood land near us, as well as our neighboring Dania Beach land. This is the land use map for the area, and you see the gateway area is all part of the RAC. And then the surrounding zoning districts. I'll go through these, but if you want me to stop or go back or anything, please let me know. So in 2010, when the district was established, it had a base density of 50 units per acre, maximum density of 100 units per acre with incentives, base height of 7 stories, maximum height of 14 stories with incentives. Last year, that was amended, so the 100-unit opportunity was eliminated, the 14-story opportunity was eliminated, and the incentives were pulled out of the code. With this district, what we have asked, and the way it has been written, is the only properties that would be eligible to rezone to this district would be properties that are already in the Gateway MU district. So it would just be those 15 properties, and I'll go into those in more detail. Obviously, the 85 is now 75, not 85. That was changed. Still the 8-story request, 1 additional story. And then there were items that were incentives or that could be asked for under the old code. So any of those things that have been put in Gateway 2 are not
can be done anymore, they must be done. So all of those things that were previously incentives are now requirements if you go to rezone into this district. So that includes the sustainable building, green building practices, LEED certification, the payment for the parking spaces, that's a $300,000 number, $30,000 times 10. The contribution for public parks, we have to estimate it at this point, but obviously when we come in with the site plan, we'll have our exact square footage of residential area. So that contribution, the current estimate is approximately $130,000. Might be a little higher, might be a little lower once we have the actual site plan. All of the drainage standards, you may recall that when you did the RAC to add the 4,000 new units, the county asked you to upgrade your drainage standards. And so again, some of those things are things that staff could ask for. If you go to this zoning district, if you rezone to this zoning district, you must use these enhanced drainage provisions. And we've reviewed those with your engineers and our engineers, and they are matching also what Dr. Jennifer Hirado asked for at the county when you were adding the 4,000 new units. So all of those drainage requirements will be incorporated into every project that goes into the Gateway 2 zoning district. These are just some of the comparisons of the existing code versus what we're putting in for the proposed Gateway 2 district. You see the LEED certification information there. You see the $300,000 for the parking. You see the public parks, which again estimated about $130,000 based on the current plan. And then all of the enhanced stormwater requirements are required, not optional or not if requested, they're required. So these are the properties that are located in the Gateway Mixed Use District now. Now you see there are 15 properties, but there's actually only 11 property owners because some property owners own more than one parcel. So for example, if you look at the map, you'll see at the corner of 5th and Dania Beach Boulevard, those parcels 1 and 2 are owned by one entity. Just south of that, parcels 3 and 4 are actually owned by Broward County. And then you see over at the northeast end of the area, parcels 13, 14, and 15 are all owned by the same person. So 11 property owners, 15 properties. This is showing you what has happened already in this district. So if we kind of start at the lower left, you've got that county parcel. It's my understanding that's a preservation parcel, so I didn't really do anything with it. And then you see the various other parcels that are either already approved or already under construction or already built. And just looking at those, you see the number of stories. Some of them are 14 stories, one of them is 13 stories, and then one of them is 8 stories. And so that's showing you all of those. Really, the purpose of this is to show there's very little left in this area. The 2 parcels that we started off this effort with, 700 East Dania Beach Boulevard and 768, you see those are surrounded by properties that are already approved at higher densities and higher building heights. And then when you go to the east and south of those 2 properties, it's conservation area. So we're not really building next to neighbors other than neighbors who are already building something larger than what we're proposing to do. At the first reading, we were asked to look at what our unit sizes might be and how they might compare with what's happened in the area already. So you see at the top of this table the various projects that we were just looking at on the previous map with their density, their addresses, their densities, their building heights, and then you see where they're at in the process. They're in review, they're built, they're under construction, et cetera. And we show the unit mixes and the square footage for all those buildings. And then down at the bottom, we show the bottom row was at 85 units an acre, which is where we were in May when we came here. And you see what our unit sizes would have been and our mix. And then with 75 units an acre, you see our mix and our unit sizes. So kind of going over to the right-hand portion of the table, where you see the square footages of all the other developments and the units that go with them, and you see ours. Now ours obviously are estimates because we haven't drawn the plans yet. So for example, when you see in our 75 unit per acre example that we've got a 2-bedroom at 1,115, every two-bedroom isn't going to be exactly that number. It'll be a range, just like it is for all the other developments. So maybe it'll be 1,100 to 1,150. But, you know, the 1115 is going to be right in the middle of that effort. And then you see at the top what the city code requires, and obviously we are well in excess of all of those numbers in terms of minimum unit sizes. And then you also see at the bottom just kind of the averages for the existing approved or built buildings. This is just a comparison of where we were when we were at 85 units an acre, where we are now at 75, and you see how the unit sizes have changed to accomplish that. So then just some photos about what's going on around us. So if you look at the upper left here, you see where our property is, where it says applicant. Viridian 14, it should say 14 stories. There wasn't enough room to fit in the STORIES. And then you see Elevate is 8, Seaview 1 is 13, Seaview 2 is 14, Parkview is 14. And then just some photographs of the streetscape around us. I mentioned this last time that we're trying with the building height to match the definitions that are in the Florida Building Code and in the Broward County Code. That's why the movement from 7 stories to 8, because 8 stories is where they draw the boundary between mid-rise and high-rise in the county code and in the state building code. This is our concept drawing that we had done by our architects. Now again, this was done when it was 85 units an acre. The 75 doesn't change the building footprint. It just makes the units larger themselves. You know, you're going to respect the setbacks and the open space requirements and the parking requirements. So the building will be the same size as it would have been, but it'll have fewer units in it, and the units themselves will be larger. And then these are just some layouts that the architect did. When we first came in with this proposed code amendment, staff said, I want to make sure that what you're asking for actually fits. So that's why we did this. So at any rate, just a couple of drawings about how that would look. And same thing with these color coding are, one color is for a 1-bedroom, one other color is for a 2-bedroom, and another color is for a 3-bedroom. That's what these colors refer to. So in summary, this is the same as what we had last time, other than we lowered the density from 85 to 75. We kept the building height at 8 stories. We've confirmed that we're participating in the public parking payment program and the public park payment program. If there's anything we've missed or any questions you have, I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Does anyone wish to speak for or against this item? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Vice Mayor Salvino.
I'd like to make a motion we pass 12.2.
I have a motion to pass 12.2 from Vice Mayor. I do have a comment. Commissioner Romoli. Not working.
And second to that motion.
Okay, I have a motion and I have a second and I have a comment. And then we will go to a vote. My issue, Dennis and the family, is that this ordinance may be legally permissible as it raises serious ethical concerns. The creation of a newly designed district that directly benefits a sitting commissioner's family requires that he recuse himself from voting. More importantly, as elected officials, we must ensure that our actions reflect the best interest of the community rather than a select few. Last year, this commission unanimously voted to reduce the building height and density across the city by 50%, a commitment that increases the height and density for limited benefit. Our responsibility is to uphold both the spirit and the letter of the commitments to protect Dania Beach and the fairness and transparency and accountability in all decisions. I would like to ask a question that the planning and zoning, what was the planning and zoning vote again on this item? Was it 3-1 or was it 4-1?
The memo says 3-1.
3-1.
3-1, and that was in favor to deny this application. And so the only person that voted to approve this application was approved or was appointed by the commissioner who is not able to vote. And with that, City Clerk, we can take a vote.
Commissioner Llewellyn?
Did anybody else? I think he wanted to speak.
Commissioner Romoli?
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to go on record as saying that we're talking about one floor. We're talking about an area where it's surrounded by 14-story buildings. While I understand this commission I was not on reduced the density, reduced and decided to go that route, and I totally agree with that. I think we have to keep an open mind when we have a property or availability in our city to be able to put up a quality product that adds value to not only our city but our tax base. And I just want to make sure that I have all the utmost respect for former Mayor Ryan and current Commissioner Ryan, that he has recused for the right reasons, and I don't think it's his fault that his family owns that property. And I just want to make sure he's always been above approach on all of his decisions that he's made for this, for the city. And I just think it may look like that because he happens to be related to the family, but I think that needs to not even be said. I don't think that plays a factor in our decisions. And I just think that we need to do what's best for not only the city, but our residents. And I don't believe that adding one more floor to a building, I mean, how many apartments are we looking at, Dennis? What if it goes up one more floor?
Just get the numbers out.
I mean, just roughly. I mean, we reduce the density. This particular property is going to actually be larger in scope in terms of the apartments than anything we have there. It was actually as large as the rest of them, even at 85. So
when it was 85 units an acre, it was 294 units. Now it's 260 at 75 units an acre.
So we're looking at 20.
I mean, I've got to divide it by 8. I can't do that in my head.
Okay. All right. At any rate.
30, approximately 30.
About 30 more.
Approximately 30.
About 30 more.
But let me also say this. I mean, we've shown if we left it at 7 stories, right? What size are these units going to be then?
Right.
Because we're building much higher unit sizes than what the code requires.
I just think the quality of the product that you're showing us is worth the additional floor. It's worth the risk, and it's not even a risk. I just think it's worth the opportunity to move forward on a project like this. We may not get another opportunity to do that.
One other thing I'd like to add. When you were changing the code in March of 24, we were here, and we got up to say something, and the response we received is, if you want to come back and show us something on a case-by-case basis, then please do so. And that's what we did. And then secondly, when we were at Planning and Zoning, and I can't speak to everyone who voted yes or no, but I do know that some of the people who voted no said, we don't know that this is our role to do this when the City Commission just changed the code a year ago. And now you're asking us to give an opinion on whether it should be changed, and we feel like that's something the City Commission should decide, not us. So at least that was part of what we heard that night.
Yeah, and I just want to make sure that, I think everybody here respects our boards that we currently place people on. And I know this commission, even on cases where an item came up where it was unanimous by a board to pass something, this commission did not pass something. I won't bring up what it was, but I think people could go back and remember what happened. So because we have 3 out of 4 that don't want this project, it shouldn't be a reason why we don't move forward on a project. I just think it's in the best interest of our city to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Ramoli. I will add that I spoke to the Planning and Zoning Board, and they did give me an issue. They expressed public trust issues because there are people who were, when we were campaigning, that was the biggest thing when we were campaigning. We reduced the height and density by 50%, and there were people who were campaigning said we want to reduce it even more. And then when we get elected and we switch our tune, it erodes. It has the potential to erode public trust. This has nothing to do with a personal issue. Commissioner Ryan has been an amazing commissioner. He was a bit amazing mayor. That has nothing to do with him personally. I believe that this decision itself has to do with public trust and presenting one thing to the public and then going later on and with a little bit over a year, changing that. And so I just have an issue mostly with the public trust. And I'm not going to continue to belabor the point because we have our votes and it's time to continue to move on with this. But I will allow the vice mayor to have his piece and then we can just go ahead and take it to a vote and move on.
Thank you, Mayor. I understand where you're coming from, Mayor, and I respect your opinion on that. And I also see where Lewis is coming from, and I respect that opinion. And I think we a lot of what was said about lowering the density, lowering the buildings, taking away certain the incentives that were there. We've come a long way since the buildings have gone up, and I think we discuss a lot in here about building height in certain areas and so on. If this project would have came up and it was on South Federal Highway, I would probably be very adamantly against this project because we talked about the height of the buildings on Federal Highway. It's just that on Dania Beach Boulevard, whether it's 6, 7, or 8, or 9, I don't even know if you'd even barely tell the difference on what's going on there because there's so many big buildings on that street. And, I kind of like in my mind have designated that would be the only place I would allow that to happen because it's already there. I don't want public to not trust us for that. Sometimes in decisions you make, what's best, what we were elected for was to keep our word, which we try to do. And sometimes we have to, change it up a little bit. For the betterment of the city. I mean, there's all different types of things you look at by reducing even though everybody didn't want the heights, what the city manager and us have voted on have brought to the city, better parks and more police protection, that comes from the revenue from these buildings. And with that being said, by us reducing that, we've just reduced our income to our city coffer to continue on to build our city with a safer place to go. So I mean, it's a catch-22 no matter which way you go. And sometimes we have to make a variant choice in adding one floor in an area that there's already 14-story buildings on. Even though we did change the code, I can see that. Some people are going to question it, some people would understand, and some people would just say, go for it. But, I guess it's all a matter of why we have our own emotional feeling on it. And I think in best interest, if you asked 100 people in different parts of the city, not just there, you'd probably hear them say, some would say okay, and some would say not. But I just wanted to vent that out. Not that I do understand where you're coming from, Mayor, because I remember that conversation while the campaign was going on and trying to do the best we can. But sometimes we make other choices. I know we've changed other things, not building heights, and that's what variances are about and so on. But anyhow, I've talked enough. I made the motion.
Yes, you have.
Well, I'm not going to have any commissioner comments at the end of the night, so I'm getting my piece now. Anyhow, I made a motion. Lewis seconded it. If you want to call for the vote, Mayor, you're more than welcome to.
I will call for a vote, but I will allow Commissioner Llewellyn to say her piece.
Oh,
and
great.
We have a motion and a second. Now, nobody wanted to speak in the beginning, but now we've ignited the fire. Commissioner Llewellyn.
Well, there were a couple things that were said, and I feel like I need to say something. So, and immediately following that, I will give my vote. I think that because we did just recently change the zoning, that we have to anticipate that there will be some overlap with the first few projects that come out. You're going to, because there are still a number of parcels that are out there that have not been built on There are still outstanding RAC units from the last time around that have not been utilized. These are from the new batch with the new zoning. In that area, I'm very cognizant of the fact that, you know, we need some uniformity. You don't want to end up having a situation where you've got very tall buildings and then very short buildings next to them. It wouldn't look right aesthetically either. I do appreciate that the applicant did go back and reduce significantly the density, because that was really, I think, everybody's concern, more so than the height, because one story is not, quite frankly, that big a deal. I think most of us said that, if not all of us said that the last time, that it's only one story, it was just the density, and 85, in my opinion, was much too high. I'm not crazy about 75, honestly. I'd like to see it closer to Elevate, which is at 71. But I can look at this and say, number one, this is not a site plan review. This is a zoning change. It is something that is fairly consistent with what's been going on in that general area. Changing it drastically could actually be a detriment in a few different ways. I had some concerns, and I did speak to city staff, our city attorney, just a number of people about this project, and I had concerns. I've had concerns up until even now. But at the same time, I do see the consistency with it. I do think that what is being suggested is reasonable. I'm happy with the changes that were made, in that there was a significant decrease in the density, bringing it back much closer to where I think it should be. So with that, I'm going to vote yes to the item, to the motion.
All right. Did you officially call the roll? No. Okay. Thank you. City Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Commissioner Llewellyn?
Yes.
Commissioner Romoli?
Hold on. This is not.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Salvino?
What about, he's not here?
Yes.
Mayor Davis?
No.
Mayor, motion passes 3-1.
3-1. Thank you so much. We will move on to item 13. Are we on 13? We move on to item 13.1, discussion and possible action. Use of discretionary funds policy by Mayor Davis. There was a discussion about this, because I was bringing this up because I was in Orlando at a conference and trying to get something done with the school, and trying to go back and forth, and there was some confusion about the discretionary funds policy it was taking. It seemed like going through a lot of red tape to get something simple passed, but once I had my budget meeting and I was able to have a face-to-face sit-down with the city manager and finance, I no longer have those concerns about those discretionary fund policy. So I will want to move on to item 13.2, which is also sponsored by me, for the back-to-school beach cleanup, which Parks and Rec did a fantastic job on, and we worked together to do the back-to-school. I always want to do something different, and so that special project was to provide lanyards that have the City of Dania Beach on one side and have Broward County District Public Schools on the other side. We are the municipal partner of the year, so I purchased 400 of those, and so I wanted to see if the commission would want to sponsor the rest of the lanyards from your individual discretionary funds to equal the 1,400, and I believe that is about 2,000. I have the backup in there, a little bit over $2,300. If you wanted to contribute to that effort, so do it as a team. So. It was 1,400. It was 1,400 lanyards, and I believe the cost was about $2,400, $2,300. I have it in the backup. I don't have it with me. Okay, hold on just a second. Commissioner Llewellyn?
I just want to know, because I know we do have new policies on discretionary funds. Do we need to complete paperwork? Do we need to do anything like that in order to have the paper trail? So I will ask our city attorney, city manager.
Why don't you, if you take the action tonight, we can paper the file, but just get your motion, because she already has the backup in there. So you're just voting on it and would complete the paperwork.
Okay.
I would also like to support $1 billion from contingency.
If it's 2,400 and you've already put
I
400
can
in,
tell you the exact number because it's in here, but. Oh, it's 2837, so.
and you've already donated.
And I have donated, I believe I think my donation was 1287 or something like that. So I have.
So what's left? What's the balance?
So 1,600 is left, 2,800, 2837, 62 is left.
I will. I'll put it. I know the city manager wants to.
But-
$567.40 for the other 5.
Yeah, I'll match whatever Commissioner Llewellyn.
For the 4, because I've donated mine.
I meant
For the 5,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I don't have discretionary funds, so.
Oh, Eve, write us a check. No, just kidding.
Eve, could you please read the amount so that Vice Mayor?
For the 5 remaining persons, meaning the 4 elected officials and the manager, would be $567.40.
How do you get that?
And the manager.
And the manager.
That's fine. If you split it that way, that's fine.
She said it was 1,800 left, right?
It's $2,800 and she's got 12 in, it's 1,600 left. 16 divided by
So 16 divided by 5.
No, it's 2,800
What's
left.
the balance?
She just said it was 2,800
Oh, I
left.
thought you said it was 2,800 total
No, it's 2,800 left.
left. Okay.
Wow, it's expensive.
It would be 560 something.
Oh, I can do 400.
567.52.
I'll put that in for mine.
I'll do it.
Okay, yeah.
Vice Mayor, is that a no for
I'll
you?
give you $1.
Because I still have a remaining.
All right, so we are splitting it with the rest of the 4, the remaining 2,800 with the city manager and the remaining commission. So this makes it all of us contributing to the lanyards equally. Thank you so much, city manager and commission, for supporting the lanyards. And we look forward to branding our city and our students with a partnership lanyard with our schools and city that they will all wear every day. All right, they'll have it, yeah, every day. Yeah, they'll wear them every day. So thank you all for that. I do appreciate it. And then we will move on to
Commission comments.
commission comments. Commission comments, Commissioner Llewellyn.
So I have a lot, but I'm going to talk very quickly, and I will move through this very fast because I know we've been here a long time. Okay, number 1, most important thing right now to me, the turtle is here. I've been going around and telling everybody, anticipate it, that it's coming, that it's beautiful. I know myself and Commissioner Romoli were both at the installation of the turtle and took lots of pictures, and it was wonderful to see. And one of the things I know with this turtle, this art project or this art sculpture, thank you to Weiland, by the way, but and Mr. Milton, of course, but one of the things that we wanted to see from this, that I know I wanted to see, was that this was going to be something that people stopped, took pictures of, noticed that this was in Dania Beach, and that was happening during the installation of this. So there were people walking by, stopping, driving, stopping, walking across the street, coming and looking at it, taking pictures, asking questions, posting it already. I've seen my posts have been getting shared all over the place. I know I've seen others out there as well. It's a big deal. It's a beautiful sculpture. It is one of a kind. It is, there's a whole story behind it, which we'll hear at the event. But it's an amazing piece, and it's a big draw for the city, and it shows how far we've come as a city and how we've really elevated ourselves as a city overall, where you have an internationally known artist who is contributing to our city through one of the developers that has been an excellent partner with the city. Next, there is Eve told us about an ethics opinion that just came out regarding the Florida League of Cities. I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware. I've actually been in contact with Mary Lou, and their council is actually putting together a formal opinion that's going to be distributed. So Eve obviously has opinions on that as well. I think I've also notified Eve that that's coming as well, so we will incorporate that when the time comes. Olson, speaking of Olson, is back on the potential danger list of being closed again. And I just don't understand how that keeps happening, considering all the money that we're putting into that property nearby. I think that is something that we're, again, probably all going to need to have some say on and make sure that we're showing up at meetings and talking to whoever we can talk to at the school board to make it very clear that this is something that we are partners with the school board on, and they need to listen to us. That's all. Two more things, two simple things. One is very important. Went to the League of Cities annual meeting this year and annual conference. Most of us did. They had a very, very informative discussion panel on property taxes and what's going to be happening with property taxes in the state of Florida. I have already mentioned this to the city manager. I've mentioned it to Eve as well, to the city attorney as well. I think those of us who were there, I think most of us were there. I think it's important that we kind of get ahead of this and make sure that we are educating the public as to what could potentially happen. I know they talked about packages of materials that are put together based upon what could happen, what changes could happen, and how it could impact revenue into cities. As you all know, we've talked about it already, our ad valorem tax, which is a very small part of it, but is a factor, a significant factor for how we do pay for things in the city. The primary thing that it pays for is public safety. And that's something that we really need to make sure that we're staying on top of, especially with a new contract, as well as the fact that we are a growing city and we need to make sure that we are keeping up with that with our public safety. So I am going to take, I guess I'll take the lead on this and trying to set something up where we can maybe do some sort of workshop or some sort of town hall, something where we can potentially discuss this further. And in the meantime, those of you who have the information or anyone who doesn't have the information, I would strongly suggest that you get it and share it with your neighbors and your constituents out there. The last thing is another presentation that I went to, I think Commissioner Romoli was at as well. I'm not sure about anybody else, but they had somebody there from the Florida Department of Governmental, whatever, the DOGE thing. They are looking at things, and no matter how good we are, they're looking for things. So it's really more important than ever that everybody, and I know we do a good job with it, but everybody really try to tighten their belts and watch what they're spending money on. Because it feels like they're going to find something even if there isn't anything to find. So, and I'm just going to say that because I can tell you that I did not see anybody walk out of that room happy. It didn't matter what your party was. It didn't matter what city you were from. Everybody walked out angry and upset. So the presentation is on their website if you want to take a look at it. But there are things that are being targeted that directly impact our city, resiliency, climate change, those sort of things in particular. And I do think it's important that we all educate ourselves and make sure that we're aware of what's going on and pay attention to it when we're discussing the budget further. And with that, I think I'm done. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Llewellyn. Commissioner Romoli.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to be very brief. I want to, again, echo what our city manager said earlier about thanking the entire staff here at the city while you were away. The number of calls I made, text messages, and all, email messages, you all were extremely responsive. And as much as we love you, Anna, you weren't missed. But we love you. I'm glad you're back. I am. Well, I was trying to be nice. No, actually, your staff is amazing, and it's a reflection of you and everyone in Candido on how well trained everybody is in your absence. I also want to thank our mayor and this commission. it's interesting because we all like each other very much, and a lot of times we will disagree on some items, but in the end, we're all one, and we're a team, and we all respect one another to the utmost degree. And I just want to thank everyone for well, I do. And I want to thank everybody for their cooperation, and even though we disagree. But thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Ramoli. Commissioner Ryan.
Thank you, Mayor. That was nice, Louis. I like it. I like it. I like it. Yeah. Feel the warmth coming over to my comments. Yeah, Commissioner Llewellyn brought up a point with the schools. You know, we basically won that award for what we did to fight for the schools, to keep them open, the Community Partnership Award with Broward County Public Schools. And they came to us, and we meet with the director and all the other school board members, and they tell us, wow, I wish more cities responded the way you guys did. You know, you thought outside of the box. You just didn't come and say, don't shut down my school, don't close down my school. We gave them good ideas. We showed that we wanted to put skin in the game to keep the schools open, and we managed to do it. So it's unfortunate how it happens. I understand. I'm not going to tell them how to do their job. But once you put a school on a list like that, you're causing fear in the community again. Because I just felt like everybody at Olson finally took a breath. And now it's coming back just from one little newspaper article because they had to put out some sort of list for no reason. But you know what? We're going to roll up our sleeves. We're going to go back to work again for our schools, and we're going to work well with the school board. And they are our allies, and I respect every one of them on the school board. And there's going to be more dialect, more conversations, more letter writing, and I guess more meetings attended. And I know our commission comes together as a team, just like we have in the past. And you know, I don't look forward to fighting the fight, but we're always ready for a fight, especially when it comes to our kids. And another point I want to bring up is I discussed this briefly with city manager and Jamie. Our parking decals for our parking decals that come up in renewal in October. I said that we could probably make them a little more geared towards Dania Beach, and that's a good way to advertise the city in a very simple, efficient way and cheap way. And we can make it look good at the same time. So I just wanted to circulate that in the public because I know it's going to come out. I know you guys are going to do a great job. So I look forward to that, and very productive meeting. Good to be back. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Commissioner Ryan. Vice.
By the way, excuse me, through the mayor, we will be bringing back at the next meeting 3 top choices that we worked on, so y'all can make a decision. But that was a very good idea.
Vice Mayor.
Well, by the time you get to me, I don't have nothing to say. So I'll pass tonight. Thank you.
Wow. And I really want to follow suit. It has been a long night, but I want to say welcome back to this commission. I am proud that we remain professional in all of our situations, whether we agree or disagree. I want to commend our teams for all of the work that they have done for the events that were going on through the summer. We still, I took my vacation, and there's just something about traveling and seeing how other people live, and you get a different perspective. You bring new ideas back. I won't bring all my ideas back this evening, but I will spread them out over the time. And but tourism and traveling and really immersing and building our relationships are some things that are near and dear to me, and I know are near and dear to this commission. So I'm not going to belabor the point of everything that we've gone through. I am honored to be on the Florida League of Cities board and was this past conference elected to the Florida League of Mayors board, and following the president's luncheon, I'm now on the executive committee. So I am committed to not only making sure that we have a seat at the table, but we have a seat at the head table, and Dania Beach is represented in all areas at the city, county, and state level. And I am so grateful to be working with a team that makes our city shine in such a big way together. Last but not least, Labor, 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 all ye who labor. It is Labor Day weekend, and I am so grateful to all of our laborers in the city. And thank you all for all you do, from our police and fire to our public services, our administration, our commission. You guys rock, and I'm proud to work with each and every one of you. Happy belated birthday, Eve. We are adjourned.
Nice job there, Mayor. Like, get the hell out of here.